Service is our total commitment.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Robianne Williams.
In Nationwide News at this hour, Finance Minister Favour Williams is again blasting the PNP for what she says is a reckless and irresponsible income tax threshold proposal.
It is impossible to be implemented in the first year. It would cause so much damage that we would be back to where we were 10 years ago.
Former PNP MP in Eastern Westmoreland, Luther Buchanan, takes Mark Golding to task over blood and fire reference.
When I hear the leader of the People's National Party talking about blood and fire, there are those that are going to take it literal. I consider such statements irresponsible and reckless.
JLP appeals to police, soldiers and election day workers to stick with the party when they go to the polls on Friday.
Rural school buses blessed and ready for September 8 launch.
2 toddlers killed in St. Anne identified. Their father is in custody.
In news from the rest of the world, a Trinidad prison superintendent detained under state of emergency over gang ties.
14 injured children expected to survive after gunman opens fire at Minneapolis Catholic School.
In headline sports, national sprint star Tia Clayton is 24 hours away from her date with Destiny in last-ditch attempt to qualify for World Championships in Tokyo.
And later in our broadcast, in the cover story at 5:35, Jamaica Post has announced the suspension of parcels and packets to the United States of America. What does this mean for small businesses in Jamaica? Public Relations Officer at the Jamaica Post, Tanikia Bennett, will join us.
In Public Opinion at 6:26, we ask who was the best or worst performer in Tuesday's debate on the economy. Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio and message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide 90FM.
In the nation's business at 6:40, we'll carry a paid broadcast of Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness's speech at a JLP meeting in Gale St. Mary.
At 7, it's Inside the Ballot Box.
All these and more as we take you home on air on your mobile, Nationwide 90FM, Nationwide Radio, JM.com, and on the Nationwide app. It's available on the Google Play and the App Store. This Wednesday afternoon, it's a week to Election Day, Wednesday, August 27, 2025.
News at 5 teasers were brought to you by Advanced Scales and Equipment. Service is our total commitment.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
And now to the details. The Finance Minister, Favour Williams, says the PNP's pledge to increase the country's income tax threshold to $3.5 million would require significant cuts in government programs and growth in the Jamaican economy not seen in recent history. She's again condemning the promise as reckless and irresponsible. Mrs. Williams was addressing a JLP media briefing today at the party's Belmont Road headquarters in St. Andrew. Siobhan Campbell tells us more.
For the second time in as many days, Favour Williams condemned the PNP for the income tax threshold promise. She says the proposal is a recipe for damaging the economy.
They would make the Jamaican voters think that it's going to be in year one. And in fact, I have seen on social media where people have already calculated how much they are going to get, but it is impossible to be implemented in the first year. It would cause so much damage that we would be back to where we were 10, 15 years ago.
The minister provided economic models to back her position. She says to implement a $3.5 million threshold would cost upwards of $80 billion.
Wages and salaries would have to take a cut. Debt service would have to take a cut. Programs would have to take a cut. The percentage cut required in programs would be about 18 to 19%. In our column, it would be about 3%, but we're not advocating that, obviously.
Opposition spokesman on finance, Julian Robinson, has suggested his party will harness the expected $140 billion of projected revenue growth over the next 3 financial years as a means to comfortably implement its plans. But Minister Williams says this belief is a poorly thought-out fantasy that ignores data in the fiscal policy paper.
When you look at the fiscal policy paper, if you just focus on the revenues, then you're going to make a mistake because there are expenses as well, and those are growing. Every year, we have to pay additional wage to the public sector workers based on whatever contract it is that we would have signed with them. Goods and services increase annually as well. So just to look at the revenues and say, oh yeah, revenues are growing, without considering that the expenditure is growing as well, is to show you that their understanding is lacking.
Nationwide's own checks show the country running a deficit over the next 3 financial years. That's $34 billion in year 1, $33 billion in year 2, and nearly $6 billion in year 3. Mrs. Williams also dismissed the PNP's claims that increased growth would cover the expenditure.
Financing through growth is what the PNP is saying that they will do. So if you take a look at where our annual GDP is currently, it's about 3.2 trillion. 1% of that would be 32 billion. So the estimated additional tax revenues from 1% GDP growth would be about 9 billion. To get to 75 to 80 billion would require GDP growth of 8.5 to 9%. Let that sink in.
If the finance minister's estimates are accurate, Jamaica would need to generate nearly 6 times its current GDP growth to fulfill the PNP's proposed threshold increase. That would be 4 times the current Caribbean average. Siobhan Campbell for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, Minister Williams says the JLP will not stop increasing the income tax threshold once it reaches the promised $2 million mark. She sought to assure Jamaicans that further increases will be possible once fiscal prudence allows.
We, the Jamaica Labour Party, are the architects of the 1.5, the largest increase in the income tax threshold in the history of Jamaica. And then we did not stop there. We have outlined a fiscally responsible path to 2.0. Already we are at 1.8. I want to emphasize that we will not be stopping there when we get to 2.0. We will continue to increase the income tax threshold.
Minister Williams says Jamaicans can trust the word of the JLP based on its record.
Up to 2016, when we took office, the threshold was $592,000. It was so low that it was not even in the consciousness of Jamaicans. We brought the benefit of an increased threshold to the consciousness of Jamaicans. And we're doing the increase in the threshold at the same time, the reduction in the base tax rate. As committed in our manifesto, a Jamaica Labour Party government in the third term will reduce the base income tax threshold from the existing 25% ultimately to 15%. Doing so in a fair, phased, and disciplined approach.
Favour Williams, Minister of Finance and the Public Service.
Chairman of the JLP's campaign committee, Dr. Christopher Tufton, has accused the People's National Party of attempting to win the September 3 general election through the use of a coordinated smear campaign against the governing party. Dr. Tufton was reacting to Tuesday night's national debate on economic issues.
It comes across in no uncertain way as a desperate last-ditch attempt by the PNP to smear the Jamaica Labour Party as an organization, and indeed its members, and indeed to weaponize, whether it's the IC or reports from the IC or just rumor mongering in order to win votes.
During the debate, the PNP's Julian Robinson and Peter Bunting repeatedly leveled corruption allegations against the JLP and its candidates. Dr. Tufton says while he expects a robust campaign, the PNP's strategy has been characterized by bluster and anger. He says the PNP's repeated corruption allegations are baseless.
But those allegations around illicit 11-man pointing fingers we think are baseless. We have no evidence or information to suggest that this is in fact the case. And we want to reject them outrightly and to say to the Jamaican people, do not be distracted by these desperate attempts to gain traction from a political organization, the PNP, that is clearly fading because they do not represent the interests of the Jamaican people.
Dr. Christopher Tufton, JLP Chairman Campaign Committee. He was speaking at a media briefing at the party's Belmont Road headquarters on Wednesday. Still on politics, the simmering rift in the ranks of the People's National Party's organization in Eastern Westmoreland has spilled into the open. The former PNP Member of Parliament for the constituency, Luther Buchanan, is calling out PNP President Mark Golding for his continued use of the phrase blood and fire. According to Buchanan, such language is reckless, irresponsible, and could incite violence. His criticism comes after a house near his residence was destroyed by fire on Monday, an incident he believes was a deliberate act of arson. It's been an open secret that Luther Buchanan and some PNP supporters in Eastern Westmoreland are opposed to the candidacy of PNP General Secretary Dr. Dayton Campbell. Buchanan explains that his home sits on the adjoining property to the house that was burnt. He says he had granted permission for the structure to be built on his land for a man who was working for him at the time. The house, he notes, was constructed by Food for the Poor. He believes the blaze was politically motivated.
It seems to be deliberately set on fire. And I mean, in a society as vulnerable and volatile as ours is, when I hear the leader of the People's National Party talking about blood and fire and telling people to get wicked on them, there are those that are going to take it literal. I consider such statements inciting, irresponsible, and reckless when you want to lead a country. So I am not saying who did it, because I don't have that proof yet, but I am of the firm view, and it is my opinion, that it is a matter of incitement from such comments.
Buchanan represented Eastern Westmoreland from 2006 until he was defeated by the Jamaica Labour Party's Daniel Lawrence in the 2020 general elections. He lost by 11 votes. He later resigned as constituency chairman in September 2022. The PNP's Dr. Campbell was subsequently named the party's standard bearer for the seat. In 2023, there was speculation that Buchanan may run as an independent candidate in the general election. He has openly stated that he was opposed to Dr. Campbell's selection.
It is it is known from day one that I opposed the insertion of Dayton Campbell in the constituency of Eastern Westmoreland that I once represent. Not out of any ill feeling, but the process wasn't a real process. And for that reason, I objected to him coming. And then, really, I don't see what he brings to the table here, because he had a constituency. In his first term, he lost 4 councillors. Second, basically lost his seat by 2,000, and you're coming to a seat that we lost by 11 votes in a recount. I mean, the way you got here is. So the gentleman that lives in the house is one of those who share my sentiment.
The Eastern Westmoreland seat, created in 1993, had been held by the People's National Party for 27 consecutive years before Buchanan's loss. When asked if he believes Dr. Campbell will win on September 3, Mr. Buchanan declined to respond directly, saying only that September 3 will speak for itself.
This is my first election that I will abstain, and I am categorically stating that I'm not a Labourite. I am not, but I'm not supporting Dayton Campbell in this seat.
You're not a Labourite. Comments have been made that you're actively campaigning for Dayton Campbell's opponent. Is that so?
I have not been campaigning, but I live here and I've had conversations. Am I not entitled to a conversation on my opinion? September 3 will speak for itself. From my observation, nomination day is a clear indication of where the people's hearts are. I regret that we are at this point in Jamaica, and there are some that would want to turn back the hands of time.
That's Luther Buchanan. He was speaking to Nationwide's Roby and Williams.
In the race to 32, facts matter.
Did you know the PNP have only lost one contested election in Central St. Mary since the seat was first contested in 1959? Yes, that's a fact. In the 1962 general election, Wycliffe Martin won the Central St. Mary seat for the JLP, polling 7,060 votes to beat the PNP's Ken Sterling by 574 votes. That was the only time the PNP candidate was beaten in Central St. Mary in a contested general election. The JLP's other stint in charge of the constituency came in the 1983 general election when Neville Murray took advantage of the PNP's decision to boycott those polls.
This nationwide Did You Know fact is part of our coverage for the Race to 32 as we preview the next general election.
You're listening to the news on Nationwide at 5. We'll have more after these.
It's IQ Optical's sizzling summer sale. For this month only, get 50% off lenses when you purchase a frame. Kids get free lenses with a purchase of a frame. Make the intelligent choice with IQ Optical. Conditions apply. The time by IQ Optical is
16 minutes after 5.
Rentokil Initial offers air purification solutions with triple filtration and unique auto-sensing capabilities that neutralizes malodor and replaces it with clean air. Call Rentokil Initial at 926-4236 for more details.
The temperature by Rentokil is
29 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 25 out west in Montego Bay.
Home is closer than you think when you save towards your dream home with the Homeowners Savings Plan, or HOSP, from CIBC Caribbean. With HOSP, you unlock preferential interest rates to earn more interest on your savings and pay less with a discounted mortgage rate. You can even borrow up to an additional US $5,000 or its equivalent to help you with your closing costs. Get home faster when you save the HOSP way with CIBC.
Stay ahead in your career with UWI-STAR, the short-term advancement resource center. Our programs are designed to support your professional growth. Join our community of professionals and take the next step in your career. Visit our website, www.mona.uwi.edu/short-courses to learn more about the continuing professional education programs of UWI-STAR.
Continuing the news, senior member of the JLP's Communication Task Force, Marlon Morgan, is pleading with special service electors to vote for the party later this week. Election day workers, members of the police and military forces will head to the polls on Friday, August 29. Speaking on Cliff Hughes Online on Wednesday, Morgan tried to persuade members of the JCF to choose the JLP.
In about 48 or so hours from now, they will go to the polls. And our message to the police in particular, we are the safer bet. We are the persons consequent on compensation reform and the compensation review in the public sector who have, in terms of the quantum of increase, granted you, our deserving and hardworking men and women in the Jamaica Constabulary Force, the largest increase in Jamaica's history, really. Under the PNP, you would have been subject to wage freeze after wage freeze, tax packages after tax packages, and of course you would have suffered immensely as a result.
Marlon Morgan, senior member of the JLP's Communication Task Force. More than 45,000 special services electors are eligible to vote. This includes over 12,000 from the police, 5,000 from the military, and 27,000 election day workers.
The Jamaica Teachers Association, the JTA, says it has summoned its action committee to a meeting to determine a response to the Finance Ministry's failure to present an improved wage offer for teachers. The JTA says this despite repeated and good faith efforts on its part to engage in meaningful negotiations. That meeting is set for Friday at 1. In a letter dated August 26, the JTA wrote to the Finance Minister expressing disappointment and urging the ministry to act swiftly and decisively. The JTA says normality within the education system can no longer be guaranteed. It says the mood among teachers is one of rising militancy, and they are prepared to defend their rights and professional dignity.
The man who reportedly confessed to killing his young son and stepson on Wednesday had reportedly drank ganja tea before the incident. The two toddlers have since been identified. They are 3-year-old Shamar Henry and 1-year-old Amar Saunders of Swamp District in the parish. It's understood the baby boys were stabbed to death. Khaleesi Wright has more in this report.
Police sources say the mother of the boys went to the home of one of her child's father. The 2 toddlers had been staying with him. The mother reportedly observed that the father was acting strangely and the children were nowhere to be found. It's understood the 23-year-old father had earlier consumed ganja tea and was in a semi-conscious state. The mother reportedly raised an alarm after she observed bloodstains in sections of the home. She reported the matter to the police and a search was launched for the toddlers. Their bodies were found in a wooded area behind the house. They had been stabbed multiple times. The father later confessed to the murders. He remains in police custody. Khaleesi Wright for Nationwide News.
This is a Nationwide Election Nugget.
The PNP has won the constituency of West Kingston once since universal adult suffrage. Alexander Bustamante secured the constituency in the country's first general elections in 1944. It was then briefly in the hands of the PNP under Kenneth Hill in 1949. Hugh Shearer then reclaimed the seat for the JLP in 1955. West Kingston has not welcomed a PNP Member of Parliament since. Current MP Desmond McKenzie is seeking a 4th term at the September 3 polls. He's held the seat since 2011.
That was a Nationwide Election Nugget.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
The World in a Minute.
A senior prisons superintendent has become the latest figure detained under Trinidad and Tobago's state of emergency. The officer was detained after being accused of facilitating gang activity from behind bars. A detention order gazetted on Wednesday identified the officer as an associate of the radical Islamic criminal gang and other networks. According to the order, the officer provided support to gang leaders in prison in return for the help in committing criminal activities. These activities include the planned killing of public officials in public spaces using high-powered rifles.
2 children were killed and 17 others injured after a man opened fire during Mass on Wednesday at a Minneapolis Catholic school. Police say 14 of the injured were children, with their ages ranging from 6 to 15 years. All are expected to survive. It's reported that 3 adults who were injured are parishioners in their 80s. The suspect, who was armed with a rifle, shotgun, and a pistol, shot through the church windows and then died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The FBI says it's investigating the shooting as an act of domestic terrorism and hate crime targeting Catholics.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour, Finance Minister Favour Williams again blasts the PNP for what she says is a reckless and irresponsible promise to increase the income tax threshold to $3.5 million.
Former PNP MP in Eastern Westmoreland, Luther Buchanan, takes Mark Golding to task over blood and fire reference.
The JLP is appealing to the police, soldiers, and election day workers to vote for the party come Friday.
2 toddlers killed in St. Anne identified. Their father is in custody.
I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Roby Ann Williams.
Listeners, you can find the news on our website at nationwideradiojm.com and on the Nationwide app. It's available on the Google Play and the App Store. News next, the headlines at 6.
Attention
and registered voters. Remember to collect your renewed voter ID card before the upcoming general election. If you registered to vote in 2016 or after and did not get your new ID card, it may have been automatically renewed. Simply visit your EOJ constituency office to collect your voter ID card. Contact the Electoral Office of Jamaica at 888-991-VOTE or 922-0425-9 for more information.
Is your money idling when it could be thriving? With CIBC Caribbean's fixed deposit offering, you can take charge of your cash. With 50,000 Jamaican to start, choose terms from 30 days to 2 years. Lock in your funds and enjoy premium rates guaranteed to grow your wealth. Whether you're eyeing short or long-term gains, our fixed deposit account puts you firmly in control of your money. Now is the time to open a CIBC fixed deposit account and start earning more today. CIBC, ambitions made real.
Sports at 5 is brought to you by Total Tools. Total Tools, every tool, every trade.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. In just under 2 hours from now, Jamaica's Mount Pleasant Academy will take to the field at the Estadio Polideportivo in the Dominican Republic to face Mocha FC in a second-round clash of the CONCACAF Caribbean Club Championship. The St. Anne-based outfit will be in search of their second straight victory after beating former champions SV Robin Hood 1-0 at the National Stadium in Kingston last week. Coach Theodore Whitmore is anticipating a tough challenge from the home team.
Well, we expect a tough challenge. They are playing at home, you know. They will have the 12 man behind them, but it's football. It's 11v11 on the pitch, and at the end of the day, it's on the pitch that counts, you know. So once we can go out there and execute, then shouldn't be a problem.
Mount Pleasant's head coach Theodore Whitmore, Jamaica's other team in the competition, defending champions Cavalier, will be in action on Thursday at the National Stadium here in Kingston when they face Haitian club team Juventus de Caen at 7.
Yeah, just not panic and look at where we went wrong, which we have seen some stuff that we could have done better. Also, we did look at the team and we thought we saw some things that we could exploit, but the problem with the team is that they played with 13 players the match before, so we are expecting that they'll probably have about 10 new players for this encounter. So it's kind of difficult to gauge where they are, but yeah, we're hopeful.
That sporting director at Cavalier, Rudolph Speed. Cavalier lost the opening encounter 2-0 away to Cibao of the Dum Rep. Livingston Morrison, who will become the new chairman of Professional Football Jamaica Limited, PFJL, effective Monday, September 1, told Nationwide Sports Today that the role will give him an opportunity to assist with the development of young minds. Morrison, a former deputy governor of the Bank of Jamaica, will replace Chris Williams, who demits office on Sunday after giving notice of his resignation in June. The former Kingston College Manning Cup and Santos player was also president of Interbank Football. He was also up to recently the governor of the Bank of Belize. Morrison says he's eager to get started and looking forward to the task.
It's an opportunity, a privilege to serve and help with the further development of professional football in Jamaica. Football is a tremendous vehicle for development of young men and those people who serve the footballing community. So I look forward to making a contribution to unlocking those opportunities for young men and the communities in which they live.
Livingston Morrison speaking with Nationwide Sports Today. Meanwhile, the board of directors of PFGL, they rejected the resignation of CEO Owen Hill. Hill's resignation was made public on Tuesday. It's scheduled to take effect on September 26. Manchester United suffered a humiliating Carabao Cup exit. They were beaten in a marathon penalty shootout by League 2 Grimsby at Blundell Park. It had appeared United had rescued themselves in the nick of time after finding themselves 2 goals down in a truly awful first half display, with returning goalkeeper Andre Onana at fault for Grimsby's second. Substitute Brian Mbomo pulled one back before Harry Maguire equalized in the final minute, but Matthias Cunha failed to secure victory in United's last spot kick of the regulation time, and Mbomo's second penalty was saved to hand Grimsby an 12-11 shootout success and trigger a pitch invasion from the jubilant home fans.
It's Grimsby's night! They've reeled in the big fish!
In other results, Everton beaten Mansfield Town 2-0, Brighton and Hove Albion blanked Oxford United by 6-0, and Fulham, they turned back Bristol City by 2-0. And finally in sports at this time, Paris Olympic bronze medalist Rajendra Campbell was the best placed of the 3 Jamaicans who were in action on day 1 of the 2-day Wonder Diamond League final at the Lucy Grant Stadium in Zurich, Switzerland on Wednesday. Campbell produced 21 meters 87 on his second throw as a consistent American 2-time world champ Joe Kovac, who claimed his 4th Diamond League title with 22 meters 46. Olympic silver medalist Wayne Pinnock was 4th in the men's long jump with 8 meters 15. Kerry McLeod was 5th, 8 meters 07. 10 more Jamaicans will be in action on Thursday's final day. Most attention will be on Tia Clayton, who will be seeking to win the women's 100 meters to gain a wild card to next month's World Championships in Tokyo. Clayton, who pulled up injured in the final at the National Championships, will have to overcome the likes of the Olympic champion Jojo, that's Julian Alfred, and Marie-Josée Chelou of the Côte d'Ivoire. The other Jamaicans in action tomorrow, Roger Stoner, Romaine Beckford, Jordan Scott, Shanika Rickett, Daniel Williams, Akira Nugent, Orlando Bennett, Akeem Blake, and Anjanette Knight. Sports are going to be back with more at 6:05.
Sports at 5 was brought to you by Total Tools. Total Tools, every tool, every trade.
Cubby's Baby Wipes is ideal for your baby's delicate skin, infused with vitamin E and aloe vera, and available for home or on the go. The time by Cubby's Baby Wipes is
5:31.
From Kingston to the world, from Montego Bay to new adventures, and from Ocherias to endless possibilities. Wherever you're headed, we will proudly take you there. Jamaica's Airport, your global gateway. The temperature brought to you by the Airports Authority of Jamaica is
30 degrees Celsius here in the nation's capital, Kingston. It's 26 in the western city, Montego Bay.
The following is a paid announcement by the Jamaica Labour Party.
Hello, this is Darrell Vaz. Jamaica's next energy contract cannot be the same as a bad 20-year-old deal negotiated by the PNP in 2001 and 2016. This minister and the Jamaica Labour Party administration now has the first opportunity available for us to renegotiate a reduction in your bills, and we will get it done. Do not allow the same PNP politicians to again negotiate on your behalf. On September 3rd, put your X beside the bell and choose Jamaica. Vote for the Jamaica Labour Party.
The proceeding was a paid announcement by the Jamaica Labour Party.
JPS! Keep it cool, keep it cool. Summertime hot, but we have all the tools. Keep it cool, keep it cool. Enough ways to see it, you just have to choose. Stay out of the fridge, just use a igloo. Remember your Kisco ice and the juice. The fan AC combo, yeah, I hit that. AC for a bit, then a fan after that. Keep it cool, keep it cool. This summer JPS have all the tools. Keep you cool with JPS. Download the JPS app today.
The wait is over. Spark is coming to you. Across Jamaica, we'll be fixing 10 roads per constituency. Over 100 roads will be fixed by September and 630 roads overall. This is real action, real improvement, real results. Every Jamaican deserves safer, stronger roads. Spark, the next chapter in Jamaica's infrastructure development.
If a hurricane mash up your house tomorrow, would your insurance fully cover it? Many Jamaicans are underinsured and don't even know it. One hurricane and they could be paying millions out of pocket. BCIC's free property valuation tool is here to help everyone update their home's rebuilding cost. Plus, when you update your sum insured with BCIC, you'll get $5 million in free contents insurance and up to 12 months to pay. Visit bciconline.com.
Want to save money and still protect your engine? Get Chevron Supreme Sin Blend Motor Oil, the blue bottle with a silver stripe. Now upgraded to synthetic blend, so your engine runs cleaner, longer, and stronger. Now available island-wide at service stations and leading auto parts stores. Ask for Chevron Motor Oil, your favorite blue bottle with a silver stripe. That's Chevron Sin Blend, your engine good friend.
The following is a paid announcement by the Jamaica Labour Party.
So we say vote for Labour. To Jamaica.
The proceeding was a paid announcement by the Jamaica Labour Party.
Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, is a financial reporting firm that delivers accounting and compliance services on time. Call us today at 876-908-0486-7. Email us at clientservices@cocnjamaica.com or visit our website at www.cocnjamaica.com. COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
This message is brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
We are at the best point ever in agriculture in Jamaica. Very soon, we will have more than 50% of our irrigable arable lands irrigated. I had the great pleasure of breaking ground for the Pedro Plains project. The Essex Valley is underway, almost completed. And all of those projects are bringing more lands under irrigation. The Ministry of Agriculture has moved with great speed and alacrity in bringing lands under their agro-park, under the agro-invest strategy. There are lands available for persons who are interested in investing in agriculture to work on those lands. I had the pleasure of looking at the Parnassus agro-park with farmers from all over Jamaica, including returning residents, putting in many acres of crops. We are at a good place. We must now expand and invest in our agriculture.
This message is brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
The following is a paid announcement by the Jamaica Labour Party.
Providing for those who provide for our nation. The Jamaica Labour Party is doing more for our farmers. We've rebuilt over 700 farm roads, expanded irrigation systems, and reduced taxes on farm supplies. Plus, the first ever insurance plan for farmers and billions in loans and grants, helping them to the highest crop yields in over 10 years. We're planting for tomorrow. Put your X beside the bell.
The proceeding was a paid announcement by the Jamaica Labour Party.
Cover Story is brought to you by Hyundai. Modern, premium, affordable vehicles.
Experience the joy of buying a brand new Hyundai without breaking the bank. Yes, buying a brand new car should never leave you broke. From stylish designs and safety features to comfortable driving and reliability, Hyundai is the choice. Hyundai vehicles come standard with 2 years free service and 5 years warranty and roadside assistance for your peace of mind. Drive 2 years without service cost and 5 years without fear of being stranded. Hyundai. Conditions apply.
Good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us here on Nationwide at 5. It's time for the cover story. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And my name is Sanjay Lewis. Good afternoon to you, the listeners, and good afternoon to you, Ricardo. How are you?
I'm doing good. A day to election day.
Yes. Counting down.
And I know you're excited because you're on election day.
Well, listeners, for the cover story this afternoon, Jamaica Post has announced the suspension of parcels and packets to the United States of America. In a statement on Tuesday, Jamaica Post advised that the last outbound flight to the U.S. for the dispatch of parcels and packets, such as letters containing merchandise, will depart on Thursday, August 28, 2025.
It says, as a result, Tuesday, August 26 was the final day to post parcels and packets to the U.S. at all Jamaica Post locations until further notice. And it says this measure has become necessary following the issuance of an executive order by the United States, which suspends duty-free de minimis treatment for all countries effective August 29, 2025. Jamaica Post says it's actively engaging its partners to address this matter and will provide updates as soon as additional information becomes available.
It also says all other postal services remain unaffected and continue as normal. Well, joining us now to discuss the impact of the suspension is Public Relations Officer at Jamaica Post. That's Tanika Bennett. Good afternoon, Ms. Bennett.
Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you as always. So could you begin by explaining in simple terms what this suspension means for the average Jamaican who wants to send a package to the United States?
All right. So great question. So simply put, it means that anyone who intends to send any item to the United States that is not a document they are unable to do so until further notice. So this is what we consider to be parcels and packets. And if persons were to attempt to export parcels or packets to the USA at this time, those items will be subjected to being rejected or returned to the sender.
Mm-hmm. And what exactly is it about the executive order that has caused Jamaica Post to take this decision?
Well, it's not just Jamaica Post that is taking this decision, but this is actually an order that was issued by the United States of America that is impacting postal administrations globally. So essentially, you could consider it to be law then, right? So if it is that we are not able to comply with the requirements of the United States, we have to put a pause on things, realign, and then resume operations as normal. So it is not intended for us to have this become a permanent situation, but I do understand that it's definitely affecting our customers, it's affecting the public, and there's a lot of uncertainty around it right now, but rest assured that we are, working closely with our partners to resume operations so that customers can get back to business as usual, so to speak.
And just help me understand, when you say if you're not able to comply with U.S. law, I'm trying to understand what exactly about the executive order that you believe cannot be complied with, or Jamaica Post believes cannot be complied with.
Well, all right. So let me rephrase. So when I said that the executive order was issued, I meant that in order for us to comply with what they are requiring, which is any item that is not a document, we are unable to send it to that country at this time. So to ensure that we are, complying with that requirement, we have decided to observe or to suspend the parcel and the packet service until further notice.
So in other words, the executive order says that you cannot ship anything that's not a document.
Right, essentially.
Okay.
And you indicated that you're working with your U.S. counterparts to see how you can begin sending packets and parcels. What's that process, and what does it entail?
Well, we have certainly begun the discussions with our partners. Let's say, for example, with the Universal Postal Union, to see how much we can implement measures that will resolve the issue as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, we are not able to give a specific timeline at this moment. The situation is still very new. As you know, the announcement was only made yesterday, and so we are rapidly, engaging with the Universal Postal Union to see what measures we can put in place to regularize our operations.
But isn't it a situation that individuals are now expected to pay duty or customs duty on any item that you ship to the US? Because my understanding is the de minimis that was in place was anything $800 or less in value. So is it the situation where Jamaica Post can in the future accept the parcels, but you have to put a value on anything and then charge customs duty? Is that the case?
That is a possibility. That is something that we are looking into right now. But as I mentioned, because it requires a lot of clarification and putting systems in place that will ensure that we're able to carry this out efficiently with transparency and accurately, we have halted until we're able to get all of this concretized, so that it won't create greater confusion or mistrust among our customers. And this is also a similar approach that is taken by our international partners. And as I mentioned before, just to ensure that we have everything streamlined and is clear to our customers as well as clear to our team members, we have decided to pause, take a step back, and assess and see what we can implement in the short to medium term as well as in the long term.
This executive order, though, was signed from the 30th of July, in a sense, giving you a little over a month to put plans in place. Why is it that at this juncture, it seems like Jamaica Post is just starting the process of clarifying what the executive order means?
Well, not necessarily that we're just taking an approach just now, but as mentioned in the press release, we were officially notified that this is coming into effect right now. So while we would have perhaps started the process some time ago, it is not something that we could have fully implemented as yet, and it is a complete change in our operations, so it also requires much more time than just 1 month type of a thing. And just to also remind the listeners and yourselves as well that Jamaica Post is indeed a government organization. So whatever it is that we do intend to implement, it has to go through the necessary processes, get the necessary approvals, and also fall in line with international standards, as we are also governed by the Universal Postal Union.
Yeah.
So I do understand that persons definitely have these concerns. They're very much so valid concerns. We do appreciate, the questions that are arising, and we empathize with our customers because, Jamaica Post is an entity that is usually the go-to organization, especially for businesses and for persons who are looking to, get value for money, to get access to services that are not normally accessible, through other entities, and also services that are reliable, that are fast, convenient, and basically that are up to international standards. So we do appreciate, what this means for the public, and we do sincerely apologize for the inconvenience that it is causing. We do apologize for, the uncertainty that it is creating within the space. But we are definitely working assiduously, and we definitely welcome, the feedback from our customers, from our stakeholders, and we look forward to continue working with them. And, we are also very much interested and willing to do whatever is necessary and within the approved parameters to bring our services back on stream.
Tanika Bennett is the Public Relations Officer at the Jamaica Post. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much as well. And just before you go, I would just like to remind persons that that we will continue to share updates through our various channels. Persons can visit us online, visit our website at jamaicapost.gov.jm. You can send us your inquiries to info@jamaicapost.gov.jm, and also visit us on social media, where we definitely look forward to hearing from you and to assist you as usual. And also just to remind customers that all our other services remain available, and we continue to operate as normal with all our other services, as well as inbound services have not been disrupted. So persons who are expecting their packages, once Jamaica Post receives them, we will distribute or deliver them as normal. So again, we do apologize to the public, and we will continue to work with our stakeholders to ensure that things return to normal as soon as possible.
All right. Thank you so much. Up on a break. After the break, Sanjay Lewis, I want to pick your brain on the debates last night and some rumblings out of Westmoreland, your parish. So come.
Clear your barrels and personal shipments with ease and convenience. Request a customs contactless clearance today through CCP at jca.gov.jm. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is...
It's 5:48.
Bird Shack Fried Chicken Summer Vibes promotion. Spend $1,000 or more at any store this August and win weekly prizes of JBL speakers or earbuds, plus a grand prize of a 50-inch smart TV. Bird Shack Fried Chicken.
The temperature brought to you by Bird Shack Fried Chicken is...
It's 30 degrees Celsius here in Kingston, 26 out west in Montego Bay.
GPS! Keep it cool, keep it cool. Summertime hot, but we have all the tools. Keep it cool, keep it cool. Enough ways to save, you just have to choose. Stay out of the fridge, just use a igloo. Remember your Kisco ice and the juice. The fan AC combo, yeah, I hit that. AC for a bit, then a fan after that. Keep it cool, I keep it cool. This summer JPS have all the tools. Keep you cool with JPS. Download the JPS app today.
All registered electors are allowed time off to vote on election day. Under the law, every employer shall permit employees to be absent from work on polling day for 3 hours in addition to the normal lunch hour. This does not apply to employees who begin work at 10 a.m. or after or end work at 2 p.m. or earlier. Remember, time off to vote on election day is your right. That was an important announcement from the Electoral Commission of Jamaica.
Experience the joy of buying a brand new Hyundai without breaking the bank. Yes, buying a brand new car should never leave you broke. From stylish designs and safety features to comfortable driving and reliability, Hyundai is the choice. Hyundai vehicles come standard with 2 years free service and 5 years warranty and roadside assistance for your peace of mind. Drive 2 years without service cost and 5 years without fear of being stranded. Hyundai. Conditions apply.
Stay ahead in your career with UWI-STAR, the short-term advancement resource center. Our programs are designed to support your professional growth. Join our community of professionals and take the next step in your career. Visit our website, www.mona.uwi.edu/short-courses to learn more about the continuing professional education programs of UWI-STAR.
Right the star.
Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5 on the final stretch of the cover story. And of course, the debate about the debate continues to rage.
Yes.
And depending on who you ask, you may get a different answer. I mean, I shared with you my view last evening that I thought the Jamaica Labour Party won. And I wondered, Sanjay, how you saw it.
You know, I thought that the JLP had substance, yeah? The style I would definitely give to the People's National Party. I think that Julian Robinson, in my estimation, was extremely surprising. He was on form from the start to the end. The issue that I have, though, at points he came across as shouting, and I don't think that in debating, to be strong and have a style, don't necessarily have to shout, and I got that a lot from him, but he was still on form. I think Dr. Tufton on the JLP side, he came out as the strongest for me for the JLP because he was on form and he had the facts together, which was excellent coming from him. But the counter, when you look on what the JLP is putting forward and what the PNP came with, the PNP, as I indicated, had style, very little substance. The JLP, on the other hand, had substance. I think that there was more in the tank from the JLP for them to respond, but I definitely give the edge to the JLP based on what I saw last night.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I've been getting so much feedback, and it's amazing how so many different people can watch the same thing and value different things. I'm going to play for you, Sanjay. I don't know if you heard it at the top of the 5 o'clock bulletin, because I think it's an interesting story. Luther Buchanan, the former MP for Eastern Westmoreland. Of course, he got that seat on a PNP ticket, I think, way back in 2006, it may have been, when the former Prime Minister, P.J. Patterson, former PNP president, stepped aside, went into retirement. And he is, Sanjay, essentially taking Mark Golding to task on this business of blood and fire. And I'm going to play the clips for you.
Before you play the clip, Ricardo, I wanted to pick your brain on one thing in debates last night. The question about the income tax threshold and the funding of it, which the JLP kept on hammering the PNP on. They want to move the income tax threshold, but where is the funding coming from? I find that even when the question was asked at the very last point and Julian Robinson gave that last hit, they still have not answered the question. I don't know if from your perspective you heard an answer or an adequate answer, but I'm yet to hear that.
Yeah, I heard George this morning making a valid distinction between a response and an answer, and I agreed with him. There was a response. There wasn't an answer. This idea that it's going to be because of, I think they've used the term organic growth.
Yes.
Is not persuasive, and I think this afternoon, Favour Williams at that JLP press conference explained why that's not a persuasive argument, yeah? And to my mind, it's an even less persuasive argument because the People's National Party seems to at once be saying that the economy is in a bad way and is weak, and then saying to us, we're going to fund this thing because we're going to have growth. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't know, there's a dissonance between those two ideas. Because if you are saying, and they have said, that they'd be inheriting a weak economy, how can you then be predicating such an expensive endeavor on economic growth?
Exactly. And let's talk about discretionary spending.
Yeah, the two things don't follow. They don't follow.
Which is why, Ricardo, and you and I have judged debates. We look at matter, manner, method. Yeah. And I've indicated heavily we have to grade on the content. And that is why I gave the JLP the edge, because the JLP had way more content. The style, definitely. The manner, the delivery. I definitely gave that edge to the PNP. But you have to put more weight on the content.
Yeah.
And I don't think that the PNP had that last time.
I've been having this discussion, this debate, this argument with Cliff throughout today about what should be valued in this setting, because Cliff's position is that he thought the People's National Party had the better political argument. Yeah, they threw more political punch. That's true.
That's true.
And therefore he thought they won. And my reflection has been, what do we want of this democracy? What do we want this democracy to be? Yeah, because if we, in other words, here's how I'd put it.
Is it just style and vibes then?
Right. And what we saw from Julian Robinson last evening, you don't need a debate for that. You don't need to spend money and rent studio and set up product. You don't need to do that. We do that every day in the politics from a political platform. All the time. You do it in radio interviews. You do it every time a camera is in. You have enough of that. So if we say we are a maturing democracy and so we're going to have, one hopes, mature and civil debates to delve into the issues and have a contest of ideas, you can't then say you want that and then tell me when somebody comes and shouts at me and shouts tried and tired political talking points at me, they can win a debate that way. Because if that is the conclusion, if Cliff is correct, and that is indeed the conclusion, we're not moving anywhere. We're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
We're not going anywhere. Because what we've done is essentially dress up the politicians, put them in front of bright lights and behind lecterns, and ask them to regurgitate what they've been telling us on platforms for more than a year now. And I don't think anybody wins from that exercise.
Exactly, which is why it is so important. And I think, Ricardo, the distinction is important. Are we looking solely on style and delivery? Or is it that we're looking at the style, the delivery, the structure, the strategy, and the content? That's what we have to look at. The content is very important. And the question last night, and you have to ask yourself also, listeners, did the PNP answer majority of the questions in a fulsome way that you're comfortable that if they form the government come after the election, you'll be satisfied that the plans and the programs that they indicated that they will implement, they have a strategy, they have a way of implementing it. That's the question that we have to ask ourselves this afternoon.
Yeah, and I also want to say, nobody should interpret what I've said to mean that I don't think politics need the gimmicks. That's not what I'm saying. I understand that as a part of our political culture. But my response to that is time and place. Again, there are platforms for it. Yeah? And the People's National Party has had multiple platforms and they've made the argument repeatedly and over and over and over again. And that's fine. But what I expect from Saturday, from Tuesday, and indeed from tomorrow night is the substance, the battle of ideas, the contest of ideas about where this country will go in the next 5 years. And if we reduce this exercise to just the mudslinging and the political barbs and the political punches, nobody wins. Nobody wins. We debase ourselves, we debase the process, and the democracy doesn't move forward. So I think it's for the Jamaican people to determine simply what is important, what should be important. And I put it to them this afternoon, it's not the shouting and the bluster. I don't think so at all. I wanted to play the Luther Buchanan clip, so we're out of time. The headlines are next.
All right. We can play it later.
Cover Story was brought to you by Hyundai. Modern, premium, affordable vehicles.
The time brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy is
6 o'clock.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening with the headlines at 6. I'm Shalois Michael. Finance Minister Favour Williams says the PNP's pledge to increase the country's income tax threshold to $3.5 million would require significant cuts in government programs and growth in the Jamaican economy not seen in recent history. She's again condemning the promise as reckless and irresponsible.
They would make the Jamaican voters think that it's going to be in year one. And in fact, I have seen on social media where people have already calculated how much they are going to get, but it is impossible to be implemented in the first year. It would cause so much damage that we would be back to where we were 10, 15 years ago.
The minister provided economic models to back her position. She says to implement a $3.5 million threshold would cost upwards of $80 billion.
Wages and salaries would have to take a cut. Debt service would have to take a cut. Programs would have to take a cut. The percentage cut required in programs would be about 18 to 19%. In our column, it would be about 3%, but we're not advocating that, obviously.
Favour Williams, Minister of Finance. Chairman of the JLP's campaign committee, Dr. Christopher Tufton, has accused the PNP of attempting to win the September 3 general election through the use of a coordinated smear campaign against the governing party. Dr. Tufton was reacting to Tuesday night's national debate on economic issues.
It comes across in no uncertain way as a desperate last-ditch attempt by the PNP to smear the Jamaica Labour Party as an organization, and indeed its members, and indeed to weaponize whether it's the IC or reports from the IC or just rumor mongering in order to win votes.
During the debate, the PNP's Julian Robinson and Peter Bunting repeatedly leveled corruption allegations against the JLP and its candidates. Dr. Tufton says while he expects a robust campaign, the PNP's strategy has been characterized by bluster and anger.
But those allegations around illicit 11-man pointing fingers we think are baseless. We have no evidence or information to suggest that this is in fact the case. And we want to reject them outrightly and to say to the Jamaican people, do not be distracted by these desperate attempts to gain traction from a political organization, the PNP, that is clearly fading because they do not represent the interests of the Jamaican people.
Dr. Christopher Tufton, chairman of the JLP campaign committee. Former PNP Member of Parliament for Eastern Westmoreland, Luther Buchanan, is calling out PNP President Mark Golding for his continued use of the phrase blood and fire. His criticism comes after a house near his residence was destroyed by fire on Monday, an incident he believes was a deliberate act of arson.
it seems to be deliberately set on fire. And I mean, in a society as vulnerable and volatile as ours is, when I hear the leader of the People's National Party talking about blood and fire and telling people to get wicked on them, there are those that are going to take it literal. I consider such statements inciting, irresponsible, and reckless when you want to lead a country. So I am not saying who did it, because I don't have that proof yet, but I am of the firm view, and it is my opinion, that it is a matter of incitement from such comments.
Buchanan was defeated by the JLP's Daniel Lawrence in the 2020 general election. Dr. Dayton Campbell was subsequently named the party's standard bearer for the seat. Buchanan has openly stated that he was opposed to Dr. Campbell's selection.
It is it is known from day one that I opposed the insertion of Dayton Campbell in the constituency of Eastern Westmoreland that I once represent. Not out of any ill feeling, but the process wasn't a real process. And for that reason, I objected to him coming. And then, really, I don't see what he brings to the table here, because he had a constituency. In his first term, he lost 4 councillors. Second, basically lost his seat by 2,000, and you're coming to a seat that we lost by 11 votes in a recount. I mean, the way you got here is. So the gentleman that lives in the house is one of those who share my sentiment.
Luther Buchanan, former PNP MP for Eastern Westmoreland. Senior member of the JLP's Communication Task Force, Marlon Morgan, is pleading with special service electors to vote for the party later this week. Election day workers, members of the police and military forces will head to the polls on Friday, August 29.
In about 48 or so hours from now, they will go to the polls. And our message to the police in particular, we are the safer bet. We are the persons consequent on compensation reform and the compensation review in the public sector who have, in terms of the quantum of increase, granted you, our deserving and hardworking men and women in the Jamaica Constabulary Force, the largest increase in Jamaica's history, really. Under the PNP, you would have been subject to wage freeze after wage freeze, tax packages after tax packages, and of course you would have suffered immensely as a result.
Opposition spokesman on national security Peter Bunting recently claimed the Holness administration had taken a warrior approach to crime. Bunting noted that if selected on September 3, the PNP would use a guardian approach to address crime and public security. But Morgan says the police must reject that stance.
We have essentially right-sized and invested in the police. And that is why, no doubt, we're yielding the results we're yielding, while there are those persons who are seeking to undermine their effort by suggesting that they are applying and exhibiting a warrior approach to crime fighting and not being quote-unquote guardians in crime fighting, whatever that means. We're saying to the policemen and women, stick with it, entrust your vote to the Jamaica Labour Party. We're the persons who have been providing legislative, financial resources and human resource support to you, while others are tearing you down and casting you as persons who are just wanton and indiscriminate way going down and shooting down innocent people.
Marlon Morgan, senior member of the JLP's Communication Task Force. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness has extended condolences to the family of 2 toddlers who were killed in St. Anne. The 2 young children were reportedly killed by their father and dumped in a wooded area. In a statement on Wednesday, Dr. Holness says no parent should have to endure such a tragedy. He says Jamaicans must be vigilant in safeguarding the well-being of the nation's children. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Shaloy Smikle. Sports is next.
Want to save money and still protect your engine? Get Chevron Supreme Sin Blend Motor Oil, the blue bottle with a silver stripe. Now upgraded to synthetic blend, so your engine runs cleaner, longer, and stronger. Now available island-wide at service stations and leading auto parts stores. Ask for Chevron Motor Oil, your favorite blue bottle with a silver stripe. That's Chevron Sin Blend, your engine good friend.
Are you ready for something mega?
Spend $6,500 or more before GCT, drop your entry in the box and you can win a 2025 Hyundai Tucson. It's the Mega Wheels 2 promotion, April 5th to September 28th. Second prize, a $50,000 shopping spree every month for a year. Third prize, a $30,000 shopping spree every month for a year. Brought to you by Hyundai, Red Stripe, Heineken, True Milk, Rex, Walker's Wood, Downing, CPJ Daiquiri, and Carryburst. Choose concentrate. Only at Megamart. Locations island-wide. Megamart, best value by far. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Rating, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
Want to reduce your high electricity bills? Then Peak Energy has the solution for you. From grid-tied to hybrid solar inverters with full lithium-ion battery pack. Installation and maintenance packages available. Visit us at Shop 1, 3 Mosquito Valley Road, Red Hill, St. Andrew. Call 876-279-8820 or 944-0668. Or email us at peakenergysolutionsja@gmail.com. Peak Energy for everything solar.
Home is closer than you think when you save towards your dream home with the Homeowner Savings Plan, or HOSP, from CIBC Caribbean. With HOSP, you unlock preferential interest rates to earn more interest on your savings and pay less with a discounted mortgage rate. You can even borrow up to an additional US $5,000 or its equivalent to help you with your closing costs. Get home faster when you save the HOSP way with CIBC.
Good evening with your sports reporter, I'm Alric Swiby. We start with football, as in a few minutes from now, Jamaica's Mount Pleasant Academy will take to the field in the Dominican Republic to face Mocha FC in the second round clash of the CONCACAF Caribbean Club Championships. The Centon-based youth outfit will be in search of their second straight victory after beating former champions SV Robin Hood 1-0 at the National Stadium in Kingston last week. Coach Theodore Whitmore is anticipating a tough challenge from the home team.
Well, and we expect a tough challenge. They are playing at home, you know. They will have the 12 man behind them, but it's football. It's 11v11 on the pitch, and at the end of the day, it's on the pitch that counts, you know. So once we can go out there and execute, then shouldn't be a problem.
Jamaica's other team in the competition, defending champions Cavalier, will be in action on Thursday at Sabina Park when they face Haitian club Juventus at 7 p.m.
Yeah, just not panic and look at where we went wrong, which we have seen some stuff that we could have done better. Also, we did look at the team and we thought we saw some things that we could exploit, but the problem with the team is that they played with 13 players the match before, so we are expecting that they'll probably have about 10 new players for this encounter, so it's kind of difficult to gauge where they are, but yeah, we're hopeful.
Rudolph Speed. Cavalier lost their opening encounter 2-0 against Dominican Republic's Ciboa FC. Livingston Morrison, who will become the new chairman of Professional Football Jamaica Limited, PFJL, effective Monday, September 1, told Nationwide Sports today that the role will give him an opportunity to assist with the development of young minds. Morrison, a former deputy governor of the Bank of Jamaica, will replace Chris Williams, who demits office on Sunday after giving notice of his resignation in June. The former Kingston College Manning Club and Santos player was also president of Interbank Football. He was also up to recently the governor of the Bank of Belize. Morrison says he's eager to get started and looking forward to the task.
It's an opportunity, a privilege to serve and help with the further development of professional football in Jamaica. Football is a tremendous vehicle for development of young men and, you know, those people who serve the footballing community. So I look forward to making a contribution to unlocking those opportunities for young men and the communities in which they live.
Livingston Morrison. Meanwhile, the board of directors of PFJL has rejected the resignation of its CEO, Owen Hill. Hill's resignation was made public on Tuesday and is scheduled to take effect on September 26. Manchester United suffered a humiliating Carabao Cup exit as they were beaten in a marathon penalty shootout by League Two Grimsby at Blundell Park. It had appeared United had rescued themselves in the nick of time after finding themselves 2 goals down in a truly awful first-half display with returning goalkeeper Andre Annan at fault for Grimsby's second. Substitute Brian Warmer pulled one back before Harry Maguire equalized in the final minute. But Matthias Gunnar failed to secure victory in United's last spot kick off the regulation 5, and then Bournemouth's second penalty was saved to hand Grimsby a 12-11 shootout success and triggered a pitch invasion from the jubilant home fans.
It's Grimsby's night! They've reeled in the big fish!
In other results, Everton beat Mansfield Town 2-0, Brighton blanked Oxford United 6-0, and Fulham beat Bristol City 2-0. Now to track and field, as Paris Olympic bronze medalist Rajinja Campbell was the best placed of the three Jamaicans who were in action on day one of the two-day Wonder Diamond League final in Zurich, Switzerland on Wednesday. Campbell produced 21.87 meters on his second throw as the consistent American two-time world champion Joe Kovacs, who claimed his fourth Diamond League title with 22.46 meters. Olympic silver medalist Wayne Pinnock was fourth in the men's long jump with 8.15 meters, while Kieran McLeod finished fifth with 8.07 meters. 10 more Jamaicans will be in action on Thursday's final day. Most attention will be on Tia Clayton, who will be seeking to win the women's 100 meters to gain a wildcard to next month's World Championships in Tokyo. Clayton, who pulled up injured in the final at the National Championships, will have to overcome the likes of Olympic champion Julian Alfred and Mary Jose Toulouse-Smith. The other Jamaicans in actions are Rosie Stoner, Romaine Beckford, Jordan Scott, Shanika Ricketts, Danielle Williams, Akiwa Nugent, Orlando Bennett, Akeem Blake, and Anjanette Knight. Jamaica, still smarting from a close one-wicket defeat to the Leeward Islands on Tuesday, will be back in action at the West Indies Rising Stars 50 over tournament on Thursday against host Trinidad and Tobago at the National Cricket Centre at Cove, starting at 9 a.m. Jamaica time. Two more games are on in the third round starting Thursday. Newly crowned two-day champions Barbados facing the Windward Islands at Ishan Ali Park, and Guyana versus the Leeward Islands at Gilbert Park. Director of the Caribbean Adoptive Sport Alliance, CASA, Christopher Sabuda, says regional multilateral cooperation is essential in developing a unified vision, purpose, and mission in Caribbean parasport. Samuda made the comment at the recent establishment of the association in Grenada. Jamaica, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, Grenada, Guyana, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Suriname and Aruba will collectively take a giant and strategic step in the development of parasport in the region and in influencing the advocacy of the global Paralympic movement.
We have been very instrumental in the formation of CASA, and we will continue to commit our resources in developing athletes, coaches, officials, and administrators of the various national Paralympic committees of the Caribbean. So CASA, in my view, is the beginning of a Caribbean movement with no destination, as CASA is committed to expanding concentrically, yes, its reach, and also, very important, its impact on Caribbean sport development and regional initiatives in the Paralympic movement.
Samuda highlights that the association is not just a sports movement.
It is rather a Caribbean movement of a people that history has beckoned in a rallying cry of the present, which is indeed in response to the growing need for representation in the region and for development strategies that are mutually beneficial and that will importantly impact and inspire the future of the lives and performance of the abled with a difference.
Christopher Samuda. Now to tennis, as Novak Djokovic admitted he did not feel that great about his tennis at times as he fought back from a set down to beat American qualifier Zachary Savada and reach the US Open third round. The 24-time Grand Slam champion appeared subdued in the early stages of the match, but eventually powered through to a 6-7, 6-3, 6-3, 6-1 win. A 25th major trophy would secure the Serb the standalone record for the most Grand Slam singles title in history. He has already set another record in New York in reaching the third round at a major for the 75th time, one more than Roger Federer's tally.
I wasn't really happy about my tennis for the first part of the match, but also credit to Zach for playing some really high quality tennis, and unfortunate that he obviously struggled with the injury towards the end of the second, but kudos to him for staying on the court. You know, it was obvious that he couldn't serve as well as he did for a set and a half. I wish him all the best at the net. I think he's playing really well.
Novak Djokovic. The Jamaica Reach to Recover JR2R is seeking to raise $25 million through the annual 5K Pink Run on October 26. The announcement was made at the recent launch of the event at the S Hotel. Dubbed Reaching Hearts, Restoring Hope, the JR2R is calling on 15,000 participants, families, survivors, corporate teams, and communities from across the island. Event organizers are also extended a special invitation to wheelchair users, reinforcing the message that the fight against breast cancer is for everyone. Over the past 2 decades, the Pink Run has grown into Jamaica's flagship breast cancer fundraiser, challenging proceeds into treatment subsidies, surgeries, diagnostic tests, counseling, and community support. In 2024 alone, JR2R, with the help of their sponsors, raised $19 million, which directly funded biopsies, mammograms, ultrasounds, medication, and other crucial care. This is Nationwide's World Championships Countdown. As the countdown to the World Athletics Championships in Tokyo continues, the World Athletics Health and Science Department has published the first global study of pelvic floor health in elite youth athletes in the prestigious peer-reviewed British medical journal Open Sports and Exercise Medicine. In total, 325 athletes aged 19 or younger from 62 countries across all 6 continents voluntarily participated in a multilingual anonymous survey during the 2024 World Athletics Under-20 Championships in Lima, Peru. Some of the key findings include 44% of athletes reported at least one symptom of pelvic floor dysfunction, including overactive bladder symptoms, urinary incontinence, pelvic pain or anal incontinence. 53% of female reported symptoms compared to 29% of males. 13% of athletes experience urinary incontinence, mainly during sprinting, jumping, or changing direction. Only 30% were aware of pelvic floor health, and 88% had never undergone any form of screening. 78% of symptomatic athletes had never disclosed their conditions, and 95% had not received specialist care. That was Nationwide's World Championship Countdown. I'm Alric Swiby, and that's your sports.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
6:21.
Jamaica's largest tile selection just got even bigger. Discover what's new at Active Home Center. With our latest arrivals, it's easier than ever to make your space truly unique. Explore ocean blues, botanical greens, and soft sandy neutrals that bring a calm, effortless vibe. From bold patterns to sleek, large format tiles in glossy or matte finishes, every room makes a statement. Shop now at Active Kingston and Montego Bay. Active Home Center. More savings, more choices.
The following is a paid announcement by the Jamaica Labour Party.
We create more jobs for Jamaicans, build road and better education. We make communities safer, ring the bell and vote for Labour. There is no party next to we, the greatest team in history. Jamaica Labour Party marching on to victory. We do so much already, now we doing more.
The proceeding was a paid announcement by the Jamaica Labour Party.
As we enter the peak of hurricane season, don't let downtime disrupt your business. Digicel Business offers secure cloud storage and Jamaica's only Tier 3 certified data center, built to withstand storms and safeguard your data. With 24/7 monitoring, local hosting, and 100% uptime, your operations stay protected no matter the weather. Prepare now, protect what matters. Call Digicel Business Solutions at 876-469-2677 or visit digicelbusiness.com. Digicel Business Solutions. Stay online, stay protected.
From beach days to business hubs, from public parks to thriving new communities, UDC is making development happen for you. We're building spaces where families connect, creating commercial zones that drive opportunity, and designing environments that support everyday life. Wherever Jamaicans live, work, or play, the Urban Development Corporation is there, shaping a better future, one project at a time. The Urban Development Corporation, making development happen for you.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Good evening, and welcome to Public Opinion. I'm Robian Williams. A special good evening to our friends on our YouTube platform. Thank you so much for tuning in. We ask you to weigh live in the comment section on today's Public Opinion. The second political debate ahead of the September 3 general election took place last night. Now, in everything that has been happening, we never remember saying next week election, you know? When we say September 3, it kind of sound far. But yeah, I was brought back to reality, and it's next week, Wednesday. We're 1 week away. Yeah? So the debate last night, it concerned issues pertaining to the economy. The team from the JLP featured Finance Minister Favour Williams, Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton, and Education Minister Dr. Dana Morris Dixon. They matched wits with the PNP's Julian Robinson, Peter Bunting, and Kisha Anderson. So in Public Opinion this evening, we're asking who was the best or worst performer in Tuesday's debate on the economy. On our X platform, Andre Lawrence is saying, best performer, Team JLP, they gave substance and real answers. Worst performer, Team PNP, they shouted, dodged, and gave us hype instead of solutions. Andre says the debate wasn't about volume, it was about answers. For Shanae, she's saying the best was Dr. Dana Morris Dixon. Worst, Julian Robinson. It was a debate, not a shouting match. No substance, just theatrics. Yadi is saying Minister Tufton was the worst. He talked too much about FinSAC. Best is Julian Robinson. Okay. Christopher Clark is saying Favour was the worst by far. She may be good at reading, but certainly not debating. Julian, her counterpart, was the best despite his uncharacteristic approach. He alone could manage Team JLP. Pacha is saying it seems who can shout the loudest and berate their opponents is more relevant than whether the questions were answered. For third term, best Dr. Dana Morris Dixon. Worst, he's saying Peter Bunting. Melty Pot is saying best Julian, worst Favour. All right, let's move on over to our Facebook platform. Who was the best or worst performer in Tuesday's debate on the economy? Christine Reed is saying it was a debate, substance versus brawling. I went for substance, and therefore the JLP won by a mile. Salome Paul is saying Dana Morris Dixon did well. She stuck to the issue as much as possible, followed by Dr. Christopher Tufton, although she believes he allowed Bunting, that's Tufton allowed Bunting to get away with lies and innuendos. She's saying that Bunting was the worst. Julian came with a script and he was anxious to reel it off, and he never fully answered the question, says Salome Paul. Nikki Becky is questioning what debate? You mean Julian proving why he would be the better man for the job over Bunting? Eddie Powell is saying Dr. Tufton was the best to me. The woman on the PNP side didn't turn up. PNP didn't mention much about the economy and what they will do. They came with the tactics that work on stage with a public pie in the sky. Donald Martin is saying, was it really a debate on the economy? PNP came prepared for something else. They did not answer the questions. They should not have been allowed to get away with it. Cleveland Richards saying, did Jamaica have a debate? More than Bunting and Julian trying to outdo each other? Kamika Bryce is saying the best performance was Dr. Tufton and Dr. Dana Morris Dixon. The worst, Peter Bunting and the female presenter on the PNP team. For Philip Jackson is saying debate, hype or substance. PNP wins on the hype. JLP won on substance. Tufton tough. Bunting soft. JLP 9. PNP 7. That's according to Philip Jackson. Let me see if I can get in a few more before I go on over to our Instagram platform. George Elliott is saying best was Dr. Dana Morris Dixon. Worse was Peter Bunting, who had no right being there. Dorothy is saying the JLP win the debate. All right. A lot of comments. Bear with me if I don't get to yours. On our Instagram platform, Tufton is the best. Keisha the worst, says Mrs. Boss Byfield. The Melon Apple is saying the best debater Julian Robinson, the worst debater Favour Williams. The best closing came from Julian Robinson. Rounds out the debating, PNP 2, JLP 0. Worst was Favour, the best was Julian and Peter. That's according to Rosemarie. Jop is saying worst Favour, best Julian. Let's see what Nikki Foodie is saying. Tufton 9 out of 10, best debater, shouldn't have allowed Julian and Bunting to draw him in their nonsense. Dr. Dana Morris Dixon getting a 8 out of 10. Julian and Favour getting a 7 out of 10. Bunting 6 out of 10. And Kisha 5 out of 10 for Nikki Foodie. Best Julian, worst Favour, says Faith Ann. J Well Known says Favour. The weakest link. Best Finance Minister Favour. Okay. Wisdom is saying Julian the best, Favour the worst. J3T's best was Tufton and Mrs. Dana Morris Dixon. They were very informative. Throw some punches, but stick to the questions. All right, going on over to our YouTubers. Who was the best or the worst performer in Tuesday's debate on the economy? Right away, Zena Beckford is saying best was Tufton. Okay. Tufton number 1 says Kirk Walsh. Kish was asked about Wharf and Barrel and she just ignored and reached over to Hart. I'm seeing Tufton here from Shelley English. Silly Billy says JLP all the way. So too does Derek Isaacs. Julian Hand Muss up. Coming from Hayworth. All right. Let me see if I can go in for some others. Thank you, Mrs. A. Good. Truly appreciate it. Team JLP 1 says Shelley English. JLP all the way. Derek Isaacs. Dr. Tufton was the best. Worst was Julian, says VB. Leonora says Julian and Bunting was in the race to the gutter. It was not about the economy. I see someone saying that it was a shouting match. Winner for the PNP for shouting and inaccurate facts, says George Alwood. Best was Tufton, worse Bunting, says Kirk Powell. Luke says we have, let me see if I can get to that. Wow. The comments are coming in rapidly, guys. So if I don't see your comment, don't come at me. For those of you who are on our YouTube platform, I'm trying to get through as much as I possibly can. Linton Archer says best team, JLP. If it was a tracing match in a big yard, PNP won, says Mr. G. If it was a debate, it would have been JLP. Bali is saying nobody can say Favour spoke lies, innuendos. This just proves that we love loudmouth lies and noise. Betsy Powell believes JLP was the best. So too does Linton Archer. He's saying Tufton was the best. David Nabar says the PNP is a bag of hot air. Yeah, wow, okay. Linda Ming says Bunting pressure bust his pipe until it dropped out of his mouth and he and Marky G got Finsack money.
Tufton best, Bunting worst, says Marcia Edwards. Low doesn't mean right. Wow, okay. DMD best, Kisha worst. Seeing a lot of comments coming in. Alex Smith says, on truth, substance, honesty, calm, productivity. JLP, please. Don't shout to us. We not deaf, dumb, and blind. Stick to the facts and substance. JLP 2, PNP 0. Lies don't win debate, says Alex Smith. Getting the wrap-up signal. Guys, thank you so much. This shows that you're paying attention and you're tuned in to the debates. The last big matchup is tomorrow, Thursday, August 28th. It will feature Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness and Opposition Leader Mark Golding, and of course we will have live coverage. So stay tuned to Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media.
Public Opinion was brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is
6:34.
Visit Marshall's Pharmacy, Greater Portmore, for all your prescription needs, gifts, personal care, household, and stationery items. The temperature by Marshall's Pharmacy, Greater Portmore is
29 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 27 out west in Montego Bay. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Nationwide's Business Report. I'm Robianne Williams. Another local food manufacturing company has issued a recall of its product. Honey Bun says, as a precaution, select batches of its cheese bread are being recalled due to potential foreign material contamination identified during internal checks. Now, the company says while no illnesses have been reported, it is acting out of an abundance of caution to ensure the safety of consumers. The affected cheese bread were produced on August 24 and 25. If you have purchased Honey Bun cheese bread with these codes, they should be returned to the points of purchase for a full exchange. Further afield, U.S. tariffs of 50% on goods from India took effect on Wednesday as Donald Trump sought to punish Delhi for buying Russian oil and weapons. The tariffs, among the highest in the world, include a 25% penalty for transactions with Russia that are a key source of funds for its war in Ukraine. India, a vital strategic U.S. partner in the Indo-Pacific, has shown no signs of stopping its purchases, calling the tariffs unfair and vowing to choose the best deal on buying oil to protect its 1.4 billion people. But there are fears exports and growth in the world's fifth largest economy could suffer. The U.S. was, until recently, India's largest trading partner. And finally, in the currency markets, at the close of trading today, it cost 160 Jamaican dollars and 99 cents to buy $1 US. It cost 217 Jamaican dollars and 10 cents to buy £1 British pound, and 117 Jamaican dollars to buy the Canadian dollar. That's the business report. I'm Robianne Williams. Good evening.
The following is a paid announcement by G2K.
After 8 years of no new taxes under the Jamaica Labour Party administration, this is the PNP's Damian Crawford proposing an increase in GCT.
1% increase in GCT will give us $25 million. Education has never been free.
This is the PNP's Dayton Campbell and Mark Golding proposing an increase in GCT on food imports, which economists say will drive up food prices in Jamaica.
Now is the time that we must put a little thing on the imported food into the country.
And we put some of the income taxes, some of the taxes on the imports of food rather.
Prices would go up as we already import most of our inflation from food and fuel.
We cannot trust the PNP. The PNP is the party of new taxes. On election day, put your X beside the bell. Vote for the Jamaica Labour Party.
The proceeding was a paid announcement by G2K.
Want to save money and still protect your engine? Get Chevron Supreme Sin Blend Motor Oil, the blue bottle with a silver stripe. Now upgraded to synthetic blend, so your engine runs cleaner, longer, and stronger. Now available island-wide at service stations and leading auto parts stores. Ask for Chevron Motor Oil, your favorite blue bottle with a silver stripe. That's Chevron Sin Blend, your engine good friend.
You can still go through quicker and cheaper with a T-tag under the new toll rate structure. Effective August 23, there will be some changes to the toll rates at the Portmore, Spanish Town, Vineyards, and Maypen toll plazas. But don't worry, with a T-tag, all Class 1 and Class 2 customers will enjoy discounted rates for every single passage. Plus, your 10th weekly trip through the same toll plaza is free. Visit transjamhighways.com for details. Get your T-tag today from any manually operated toll booth on Transjam Highways.
Enough power tool, big to small. Jackama figure dig the wall.
Our Total Tools.
Weed whacker figure trim the lawn. We have everything a job demand.
Total Tools.
We rent them, sell them and fix them. Also give Total Tools a call. When I say home improvement, landscape construction, or Total Tools are your option. Home improvement, landscape construction, Total Tools are your option.
Total Tools, located at 102 Main Street, Ocho Rios, 34 Slipe Road, Kingston.
And lot C6 Jackson, St. Anne's Bay. Call us today.
Attention motorists, it's time to switch to the T-Tag on Transjam Highways. The T-Tag system reduces the amount of cash handled at our toll plazas and makes it safer for our staff and motorists at the toll booths. The T-Tag makes it quicker, more cost efficient, and safer for our customers. So switch to the T-Tag today and experience the convenience. T-Tag packages are discounted by 50% down to $1,250, including a $500 toll credit from now until September 5th.
The following is a paid announcement by the Jamaica Labour Party.
Hello, this is Darrell Vaz. Jamaica's next energy contract cannot be the same as a bad 20-year-old deal negotiated by the PNP in 2001 and 2016. This minister and the Jamaica Labour Party administration now has the first opportunity available for us to renegotiate a reduction in your bills, and we will get it done. Do not allow the same PNP politicians to again negotiate on your behalf. On September 3rd, put your X beside the bell and choose Jamaica. Vote for the Jamaica Labour Party.
The proceeding was a paid announcement by the Jamaica Labour Party.
Paying bills just got easier. With Evolve Bill Pay, the new bill payment service by Supreme Ventures, you can settle your light, water, telephone, and internet bills at over 180 Supreme Ventures locations island-wide, right where you live and shop. Pay, play, and go with Evolve Bill Pay. Evolve Bill Pay. Fast, easy, right round the corner.
Still sweating with that old fan? It's time to upgrade! Meet Glacier, the AC unit that thinks for you. Energy efficient to slash your power bill. Wi-Fi enabled so you can control it from your phone. And self-cleaning because you've got better things to do. Powerful, smart, hassle-free. Call now at 876-923-6521-3. Geddes Refrigeration Limited, delivering the perfect cooling solution tailored to your needs.
You can still go through quicker and cheaper with a T-tag under the new toll rate structure. Effective August 23, there will be some changes to the toll rates at the Portmore, Spanish Town, Vineyards, and Maypen toll plazas. But don't worry, with a T-tag, all Class 1 and Class 2 customers will enjoy discounted rates for every single passage. Plus, your 10th weekly trip through the same toll plaza is free. Visit transjamhighways.com for details. Get your T-tag today from any manually operated toll booth on Transjam Highways.
The following is a paid announcement by the Jamaica Labour Party.
All roads lead to Spanish Town this Sunday for the JLP Mass Rally at the Old Harbour Road round about 4 p.m. Main interest comes from Prime Minister and Party Leader, Dr. the Most Honourable Andrew Holness. Bells ringing, Jamaica Labour Party doing more for you. Bank to bank, Spanish Town strong. On election day, put your X beside the bell.
The proceeding was a paid announcement by the Jamaica Labour Party.
The following is a paid broadcast of Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness's speech at a JLP meeting in Gale, St. Mary on Tuesday, August 26.
Why, yeah, they give me the vibes, they give me the vibes, they give me the vibes. They looking good. I feel the energy. Man. Bobby, where you get so much people from? First of all, let me acknowledge your member of parliament, hard-working member of parliament. He gave a presentation listing everything he has done and everything he intends to do for you. And I listened intently. And it is clear that Bobby has your interests at heart. And I ask you to ensure that Bobby is returned to Parliament as your I also want to acknowledge a young man. I can say that because I'm an older man than he is. He's a young man. Nathaniel Maraj, who I toured with him, and he has the energy and the zeal. He has the charisma as well. The young people like him. And he's moving through that constituency. And we should watch that one very carefully because this man is serious. Of course, you know, we did a long tour in your era. And Mas Desmond marshal the whole thing. I want you to big up Desmond.
Let us go for a better Jamaica. Let us go.
Select on the dance we come in. And a tune we come for draw. I come to talk some business, quick and fast. Now, as I drove through your constituency, the common cry, road and water. As I get that complaint, as I go around the island, road and water. Now, why you understand something? I'm in politics, elected as a member of parliament for 28 years. And I've been around politics for 30 years. I've been around this country so many times that people stop me and say, Prime Minister, I need to update my picture with you. 10 years ago, 15 years ago. So I can sense what is happening in the country. I know it like the back of my hand. I know you, because you are my family. I know you. I know what is in the forefront of your minds. As I drive past, I see people run out, shower, and then hug you up and stuff, but I'm looking past that. And I look straight into the soul. I know what concerns you. I know what bothers you. So, for many persons, 10 years ago, the concern would have been crime, unemployment, healthcare. Today, these are still concerns, but they are not top of mind. Top of mind today is the discomfort with not having water in your house. Many of you save up, do your little thing, build a little place, and you still have to carry water. Worst of all, you have to buy water. It is a concern. And for others, it is the roads, pothole, breakaways, all kinds of issues with the roads. That is what is concerning you now. Right? Now, I want you to think on this. This administration, in 9 years, has changed some of the things that you previously considered unchangeable. They would be with us forever. Nobody thought that as we stand here tonight, the murder rate would be cut by 43%. Nobody thought that was possible. It cut now, so that is no longer top of mind. To the point where in the social debate, nobody even asks any question about it. Because the sense is that we are on our way to deal with this intractable problem that has existed for over 30 odd years, the murder rate, putting us in the top 5 murderous countries in the world at one time. For 3 straight years, we reduced the murder rate. In 2023, we reduced it by 8%. In 2024, we reduced it by 19%. And this year, it is down 43% for the year. For the first time, wait, this is going to go down. For the first time in 34 years, the murder rate is likely to fall below 1,000. In fact, the murder rate is likely to be just about 700 or below. That is a dramatic turnaround. It's something that we thought couldn't happen. Nine years ago, the unemployment rate was 13%. 13 out of every Jamaican was unemployed. Today, the unemployment rate is 3%. Only 3 out of every 100 Jamaican who is looking for a job cannot find a job. That is a dramatic turnaround. And it's as if nobody wants to give credit to the government. And I could go on and on and on and on and on about the things we have done to strike off of your list of concerns to know your major concern is road and water. There are 2 things of note that I want to mention to you for your consideration. I want you to think about it. How many of you here owe anybody any money? And when you owe, you can't sleep good. It's not nice to owe nobody money. Well, Jamaica owed at one point almost 50% more than what it produced in a year. Its debt to what it produced was 150%. When we took over the debt, it was 130%. You know what the debt is compared to what we produce? It's now 68%. Meaning that 9 years ago, if we decided that we're going to take all of the money in Jamaica and pay off the debt, we would have still owed 30%. Today, if we decide that we're going to take all of the money in Jamaica and pay off the debt, we would be left with 32%. That's how we change things. And we keep bringing down the debt. Now, for almost 10 budgets we read in Parliament, and we have not come to you and said you must pay any new taxes. That is a dramatic change. Before that, listen to me good now. Before that, Peter Phillips bring to you 3 budgets when take $64 billion in new taxes from you. We got 9 budgets and we not do 1. So we have changed Jamaica. And we do it little by little. We don't take from one and give to the other. We do it gradually. So everybody move. Our party double the minimum wage, more than double the minimum wage. When we started, the minimum wage was about $6,200. Now the minimum wage is $16,000. We moved the threshold from about $590,000. The threshold today is about $1.8 million. We are the ones who have your interest at heart. Because there's nothing that we have done that would require you to pay more taxes for it. Even in COVID, whatever we do, it must be sustainable, meaning it can last. We are the government of sustainable policies. We are the government of fair policies. Now, recently, I hear a promise being made that they would move the non-tax threshold from $1.8 million to $3.5 million. And that sounds good. And I hear some people say, whoa, 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 whoa. And I sit back and I say, Lord, touch the minds and hearts of our people. Touch the reasoning of our people. The Jamaica Labour Party moved the employed labor force to 1.4 million people. Of that 1.4 million people, about 200, I want to give you some exact figures. Of that employed labor force, about 214,000 are on PAYE, meaning that they pay income tax and they pay as you earn basis. When you increase the threshold to 3.5 million, if you are already benefiting, meaning that your pay is 1.8 million or less, you're not going to get anything out of that. That don't benefit you. How many people here earn $1.8 million yearly? So none of them are going to benefit from that. The people who benefit from that would be 127,000 people out of 1.4 million people. In other words, only 9% of the employed population would benefit from that. They would get about $400,000 more per year. But who would pay for it? You think that money just come from the sky? You think that money just appear, it's just there somewhere you take it? No, it has to be redistributed. It means that none of you here earn 1.8 million. But every one of you here will be required to pay $32,000 every year to the 124,000 people who earn about 1.8 to 3.5 million. You will have to pay for it. It is not the first that the PNP has come to you with a policy that redistributes wealth in this country. They did it with something called the high interest rate policy. They did it for several years. And the same people now who benefited from the high interest rate policy, who earned their money from that so that they can say that they are toponaris. They were so vulgar with it that a member of their government had to say that the high interest rate policy was the greatest transfer of wealth from the poor to the rich. Now they come back again with another policy that is going to require $30,000 out of your income to pay to people who earn about 1.8 to 3.5. You are going to pay for it. Now, the cost of it is $75 billion. I hear them say about 55. Lie! Lie! $75 billion it will cost. And where is that? Let me tell you what $75 billion can do. The program that we are now doing to fix your roads, that everywhere I drive, they say, my road, Prime Minister, my road. And I go and we find the money, $45 billion. The Spark program to do 660 roads across Jamaica. And somebody come now and say, take up the $75 billion, which will just end the Spark program. You could do 2 Spark programs out of that. You know how much money we spend? You know, the country need to know this, man, because it burned me to my heart. Burned me to my heart. This is the foolishness. You know how much things we could do with $75 billion? Look, right now, we spend $80.6 billion on the police force. That's what we spend to keep you safe. And we must take up $75 billion to enrich 127,000 people out of 1.4 million people. We spend $17 billion on university. The same people who are quarreling about education. We could have, if we were to take that money and spend it on education, it would have probably make a little more sense, because it would have benefited far more people. We spend $19.7 billion on pharmaceuticals and medicine. You see how much we could have helped people who have cancer and all kind of things. But they are proposing to take $75 billion and just redistribute it for no reason at all. I want all well-thinking Jamaicans to dismiss this. It is dangerous. It is going to put us back in debt. But more importantly, it is going to prevent you from getting your roads and your water. If they had any care about the things that matter to the mass of the people, they would have suggested how to get road and water. But that's not their concern. But as I stand here today, I am telling you that my administration has already started and will continue to deal with your road and your water. The things that matter to you. I say it already, and I'm going to say it again. There will be round 2 of the Spark program, which means that the 660 road, which is already programmed, you will have another 660 roads to come. So year by year, the roads that are problems to you, that will be solved. This year alone, we are spending over $10 billion on water projects. We have a big water project called the Northwestern Water Resilience Project. We have a big one in St. Catherine, the Content Recovery Project. We have a big one in Mandeville, the Greater Mandeville Water Supply Project. All of these are massive projects that are going to solve the water problems in those areas once and for all. Your Member of Parliament pointed out some projects here. In our next term, you will see an increase in the number of projects for this constituency, because that will be our focus. Dealing with the things that matter to you, road and water. And I leave you with a consideration. Since the 9 years of my administration, motor vehicles in Jamaica has doubled. No wonder you have far more complaints about roads, because people want to drive, go to their yard, on carpet. In our administration, more people are building their own homes privately, doing the little thing, putting on a room, adding on, fixing up. And more people want to go in them shower, turn it up, and say, shower, shower, shower. And my administration will ensure that you have good roads to walk on, to walk and ride and drive on, and that you have water in your house, which is basic for modern living. Basic for modern living. We did it with crime. We did it with unemployment. We did it with debt. We did it with no new taxes. We cut poverty in half. We bring down inflation. We will fix your road and bring water to the pipes in your home. God bless you. Love you.
That was a paid broadcast of Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness's speech at a JLP meeting in Gale St. Mary on Tuesday, August 26.
The NHT has boosted construction loan limits to 11 million for one applicant and up to 23 million for 3 co-applicants. We are building Jamaica.
The time by the Office of the Prime Minister is...
It's 7:08.
The following is a paid announcement by the Jamaica Labour Party.
Hello, this is Darrell Vaz. Jamaica's next energy contract cannot be the same as a bad 20-year-old deal negotiated by the PNP in 2001 and 2016. This minister and the Jamaica Labour Party administration now has the first opportunity available for us to renegotiate a reduction in your bills, and we will get it done. Do not allow the same PNP politicians to again negotiate on your behalf. On September 3rd, put your X beside the bell and choose Jamaica. Vote for the Jamaica Labour Party.
The proceeding was a paid announcement by the Jamaica Labour Party.
Escape to Idle While in a grill where sand and serenity meet. Visit idlewhile.com or call 876-957-3302. Idle While and stay a while.
The following is a paid announcement by G2K.
After 8 years of no new taxes under the Jamaica Labour Party administration, this is the PNP's Damian Crawford proposing an increase in GCT.
1% increase in GCT will give us $25 million. Education has never been free.
This is the PNP's Dayton Campbell and Mark Golding proposing an increase in GCT on food imports, which economists say will drive up food prices in Jamaica.
Now is the time that we must put a little thing on the imported food into the country.
And we put some of the income taxes, some of the taxes on the imports of food rather.
Prices would go up as we already import most of our inflation from food and fuel.
We cannot trust the PNP. The PNP is the party of new taxes. On election day, put your X beside the bell. Vote for the Jamaica Labour Party.
The proceeding was a paid announcement by G2K.
You're listening to Inside the Ballot Box on Nationwide 90 FM as we cover the 2025 general elections. It's the race to 32.
This week, inside the ballot box, we continue to explore the track record of third-party candidates in Jamaica's general elections, highlighting key figures who have pushed for constitutional and political reform.
I believe that this political culture we have developed with a winner-take-all and the one-upmanship has allowed us to get trapped in a mindset.
Do we call that real democracy? Do we call that real government? So we need a real reform of our constitution in which that old order must go.
Our involvement in this election to come, I strongly believe that we have a very good chance.
As it is, as we're recording this program on Sunday, August 24, we're getting news today from the Jamaica First Party. And what does it say? The Jamaica First Movement, JFM, and the Jamaica Progressive Party announced, quote, the mutual dissolution of their political alliance, meaning them fall out already. That's what that means. And here's a critical sentence in the news release coming from the Jamaica First Movement. This decision follows a series of recent respectful and candid discussions between both parties. Now, candid, the use of that word candid, is a diplomatic phrase which means they were brutally honest with each other and there were tensions in the room, if not verbal cacophonies, and they decided to part company. Yeah, that's how bad it got in that room. While we entered, they say, this partnership with shared hopes for national transformation, we have come to recognize that our foundational principles, particularly regarding the structure and vision for a government of national unity, were not as fully aligned as we initially understood. And they say their candid discussions reveal substantive differences that were not apparent at the outset. So here you are, on a day like today, we're talking about minor parties, and Unity Alliance, Jamaica Unity Alliance, has fallen apart because ideologically, conceptually, policy-wise, they are not together on the message.
And before we wrap up inside the ballot box today, how might directly electing an executive president separate from the MP ballot change voters' engagement and the balance of power in Jamaica?
The pluses and minuses of the Westminster parliamentary system of democracy versus the more American US-led executive presidency. You need a whole program to do that one. Now, let me begin with voters' engagement. Already, Jamaican voters, despite having in practice and in theory a parliamentary system where you vote for an MP through the candidate of the parties contesting the elections. So you are theoretically really voting and practically for the MP to represent you in the parliament. But that system has frankly been bastardized, you may say, where MPs, when they get elected and go to the parliament, they don't really focus on the interest of their constituents. What do? They fall in line to the thinking of the party, and in particular, the Prime Minister and his cabinet, who are the ones who really make policy. They are the ones who determine whether they're going to build more hospitals, fix more roads, build more schools. They are the ones who really direct policy. And the MPs, those who are not lucky enough to get into the cabinet, they have to go sit on the backbench. They don't have much of a role in shaping policy. And this is one of the weaknesses of the Westminster parliamentary system. At the same time, some will argue that the MP is there to defend the interest of their constituents. But how many do? Because, frankly, they don't want to buck the party leader and Prime Minister. They want to play team. And many times they may be upset with a direction, but they don't want to upset the team and hear that they are the cause of disunity and problems. And therefore, an executive presidency, on the other hand, will have a situation where the Prime Minister may now become the executive president, but without members of parliament. He may have members of parliament on his side, coming from his party, but he's free to choose members of his cabinet from outside of his party. So he can say, listen, John Brown is not a member of my party, but I think he's the best suited, best qualified to be the Minister of Finance, and I'm going to go for him. And that has some advantage. What it also means in terms of your question about voter engagement, it means that the voters can directly, as we do now, because we do a fair bit of that, a lot of that, when we're voting in a general elections come September 3, people are having it at the front of their minds, I'm voting for Andrew or Mark as Prime Minister. But they do not get the opportunity to vote and put an X beside Mark or Andrew's name. But the point is, that is what is influencing a lot of voters. We have been hearing it more and more now as we run up to September 3. People are saying they're not happy with several of the 49 JLP members of parliament. They're not happy with them, but they're satisfied with the performance of the government and Andrew Holness. So some are saying, okay, I'm not voting for the MP. I'm going to shut my eye. I'm not voting for the MP. I'm voting for Andrew and the government. Is it time we make some changes? Well, I'll tell you this. When Bruce Golding went and formed the National Democratic Movement in the mid-1990s, that was a kernel of his advocacy for supporting the National Democratic Movement. And we had a huge debate for a long time in the country over whether we should stick with the Westminster British parliamentary system or go to the US executive style of presidency. And that didn't take off. Golding didn't win a seat. Yeah? And the NDM has since died a slow, natural death.
You've just heard Inside the Ballot Box on Nationwide 90 FM as we cover the 2025 general elections. It's the race to 32.
Attention motorists, it's time to switch to the T-Tag on TransJam highways. Our automated T-Tag lanes reduce the cost of managing cash at our toll plazas, and drivers of Class 1 and 2 vehicles who use the T-Tag pay a lower toll fare than those who use the manually operated toll booths. They also get their 10th trip through any toll plaza free. The T-Tag makes it quicker, more cost-efficient, and safer for our customers. So switch to the T-Tag today and experience the convenience. T-Tag packages are discounted by 50% down to $1,250, including a $500 toll credit from now on till September 5th.
The following is a paid announcement by the Jamaica Labour Party.
Our senior citizens have given their service. Now it is time to give back even more. Under the Jamaica Labour Party administration, senior citizens 65 years and older earning $6 million or less, including their pension, will pay absolutely no income tax. The Jamaica Labour Party is doing more for you. On election day, put your X beside the bell.
The proceeding was a paid announcement by the Jamaica Labour Party.
Good evening, listeners. We're going to take your calls now. The numbers are 630-937-124 and 618-8255. Come chat with us.
The following is a paid announcement by the Jamaica Labour Party.
On election day, put your X beside the bell and vote for a reduction in income tax to a base rate of 15%, an affordable and safe rural school bus system which will be free from September to October. Vote for a JUTC system which is more accessible and will be free for students for the first 2 months of the school year. Vote for senior citizens who earn $6 million or less, paying no income tax on their earnings or pension. Put your X beside the bell and vote for the Jamaica Labour Party, which has been tough on crime and will continue the over 40% reduction in murders.
The proceeding was a paid announcement by the Jamaica Labour Party.
Attention motorists, it's time to switch to the T-Tag on TransJam highways. Vehicles using the automated T-Tag lane are processed in seconds, so you can pass through the toll plazas far quicker. The T-Tag makes it quicker, more cost-efficient, and safer for our customers. So switch to the T-Tag today and experience the convenience. T-Tag packages are discounted by 50% down to $1,250, including a $500 toll credit from now on till September 5th.
Good evening again, listeners. As I said, taking your calls. The numbers are 630-937-124 and 618-8255. Mr. Brooks had to run, and so I'm taking over for a little bit. I'm Siobhan Campbell. Good evening. And Faithful, you're on the line.
Good evening, Siobhan. Good evening, Sanjay. I'm a bit confused with Cliff, Stan, and Owen in the debate yesterday. But first, let me say, there's a lot of things that that was on the table that the JP didn't take up the table to put forth. But Cliff, the PNP win the debate based on the fact that the spokesperson on finance was very vigorous and was shouting. And I'm here to wonder if he not the same person who said that Dayton Campbell need a stop and his mouth guy was shouting to us, and he don't need him to shout to us.
I hear you, Faithful, but remember now that Cliff is not analyzing the debate based on what he believes should be his view. He's analyzing based on what he believes the Jamaican people want to see. At least that's my assessment. I mean, I put it this way now. The average, and I've said it before, the average nationwide listener and viewer is of a certain intellectual rigor. A certain intellectual rigor that I expect. Now, if you had a debate put on in front of moderators, a properly structured thing, not really something for the general audience, and as a result, it would be based on what I would say the necessities of substance and the topics at hand. I think based on how the debates were handled that evening, the JLP would have won handily. But that debate is a national debate. It's not based solely on what the intellectual or someone looking for substance is. I think when it comes to a national debate, the form, the theatrics become more prominent than the actual substance to a lot of people. And when it comes to Julian Robinson's performance specifically now, I think that one is interesting because I think it can be very polarizing. There are those who will be turned off by what I consider the kind of aggressive, shouty approach. But there are also a lot of Jamaicans who view that and say, wow, I'm strong, him come out confident and strong, and it looks good to them. And I think that is what will be the decider for a lot of people when they assess the debates yesterday.
If I could just jump in, Siobhan, I think that for a very long time, the way how many Jamaicans judge these political debates is not so much on the substance, but the form, as I was saying earlier with Ricardo. And definitely, the People's National Party, they had the better form, they had the better style. You're right also, because for some, the style put forward by Julian Robinson could come across offensive. But I think the PNP took a gamble that most of the persons who come for a debate, they're looking for who can, overpower the other. And they took that risk and it paid off for them. But if you really want to judge a debate, you have to look more about the content.
Yes.
The questions that were asked. Did the People's National Party answer those questions in a way that you're satisfied leaving that debate knowing that they were answered? And the simple answer to the question is no, they didn't. Yeah, but they had the style. You have to give them that.
Because how I frame my mind to judge who would be the winner, it's based on what they said, and who could put forward a point in a very effective way and point out to. Like for example, I give an example. When they asked the question about, I think it was about education and school. And I thought the best one to me for the night was what Dana said. When she said we went to St. Thomas and she gave real experience and give a job and come back to the farm and to the exact thing that we're talking about. Right. So I think that was very important because she pointed out exactly to what. And that's what I was taught to look forward to.
Yeah, but you see, there was a question, for example, I think it was asked about the threshold, the income tax threshold, in terms of the funding. And what the PNP did was, in a sense, talk about, what Jamaica needs, and Jamaica need the PNP and all of that. And today, they have not answered the question about the funding. However, again, to many, they're looking on to say, oh, I love how Julian responded to that because he had the style. Yeah. But he didn't have the answer to the question. And that was what I was looking for. But you can't blame the average Jamaican, them looking for style, who had the better style. So for example, when Christophe Dunn responded to Peter Bunting about the National Security Minister and was unable to secure himself, that was a punchline for many individuals. If you check Twitter, if you check Facebook, many individuals were talking about that punchline from Christophe Dunn. So again, you recognize that most of the people who are watching the debate, they were looking more on the style and less on content.
As I said, to say with the winner, I think the winner, I think to claim a winner is in the eyes of the beholder. It doesn't matter how I look at it. Maybe I'm going to try to show a different length, and everybody's going to look at it through their own length. Because in my view, it doesn't matter what JP do, some person JP will win, and it doesn't matter what PNP do. If they perform at the worst, some person are going to see them as being the winner. So I come on the view that it is in the eyes of the beholder. Let me ask this final question. Do we have less water supply in Jamaica now than in 2015?
Absolutely not. That could not be anybody's assessment.
But I heard a so-called talk shows and journalists was advocating very frivolously, said that's what happened. Even though the government going on and say they open in pipe and issue water, they have fall. He said that there was more water in 2015 than what we have now.
That could not be anybody's assessment. The water supply has increased over time. The real question is the water supply increasing at a rate that is keeping up with the developments and the population growth in the country? That is a different assessment. But to say that the water supply hasn't increased over the last 10 years is ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
No, that's not what it is. He said there were more. He said there was more people have water in Jamaica in 2015
not true.
than what you have now.
I don't even need to look at a statistic to say that's not true.
Have a good evening.
Have a good evening. Before we go to the next caller, there's one aspect of the debate that I think people don't touch on enough. Yesterday's debate, rather, that I think troubled me the most. And that was the delivery from Keisha Anderson, is her last name?
Yeah.
And it was the one where she tried to rebut the comment about why should any Jamaican today care about what happened 20 years ago. I was so offended by that statement because it is such a ridiculous statement. When you talk about the 1990s and the FinSAC era and she's trying to brush it off, as someone who says she works as a business administrator, I don't think you could go into a boardroom and tell your board members and your stockholders that, well, even though we did get a little gains today, why do you care about what happened 20 years ago? We had this massive loss. Why would you care? Why is stuff important today? Because it is the debt that you generated over that period of time, which has weighed heavily on Jamaicans, whether they're 10 today or 60 today, that they still have to pay off to this day. How can you go in front of the Jamaican people and suggest that is of no importance? Then why should the Jamaican people care what happened in 2011? Why should they care what happened in 2007? These things are relevant to this day.
But what I will say to you, it's a style that the PNP utilize, because you're talking to the average Jamaican, they're going to say, you don't care about what happened then. Let's focus on the now. What should have been, the JLP should have rebutted with that exact stance that you are now taking, Siobhan. And I think that the JLP, there's a lot of missed opportunities to rebut some of the things that the PNP put forward. Even the question on hospitals. It took a while for Dr. Tufton to heat up. And Dr. Tufton is the best person to respond to the question. You recognize that when he finally got on form, he was out of time. Yeah? And I find that it's not that the JLP don't know the responses to the questions. It's not that they don't know how to rebut, but they were not on form. They weren't quick enough. Yeah? And that was part of the challenge that I found with them.
Next caller? Ian, good evening.
Good evening, gentlemen. How are you guys doing?
Doing quite well.
How are you?
Great. I'm good, nationwide, I'm so proud of this station. But let me get right into it, as Mr. Hughes would say. So one of the things I want to first say, I am so disappointed in the PNP. It's a disgrace. I think it's a national disgrace that the PNP have not placed one of their advertisements on nationwide, and whoever is managing their marketing team is either small-minded or doesn't understand.
No, it's quite clear to me. I spoke to a few people in the People's National Party, and they quite said it's war. That's how they put it. As it's war with Nationwide News at this point.
Yeah, but it is silly. I mean, under PNP Nationwide under others had this Rise United groups seem to take a different posture. So if you're not with them, then you're going to be blacklisted. And it's something the country should reject. It is stupid, and it is poor marketing, and it is silly. Because PNP and JLP listen to Nationwide. So if it is that you're marketing and your party to be the party of choice, then why blacklist a media house? In USA, Trump was with CNN, but Republican had on CNN. But anyway, that's not the main reason why I call. I call about the debate. No, this is my take on the debate as a Jamaican. Now I hear your view, I hear Mr. Youth's view, and I believe everyone is entitled to their view. I believe the Jamaica Labour Party has won, and here why I say it. I do sales. I'm a salesman. And one of the things that in sales is that the debate was to lower people resistance and kind of create an acceptance of our party or give reason why. Because you have persons who already done that, you have about PNP, JLP. Those weren't the people you were appealing to last time. You were appealing to people who were sitting on a fence thinking, how should I vote? I don't trust these politicians. So a lot of who are undecided don't have any trust in the politician. Now, if you are someone who's looking for trust, then certainly you're going to go with the Jamaica Labour Party, because when you look at the content, the information, then you realize that they provide information that were accurate and true for the most part. The PNP, one of the worst things a salesman can do is try to sell a product that they lack knowledge or understanding of, or tell the customer, the prospect, lie about the product. He will never sell again to that customer. And secondly, you don't want to be a turn-off to whoever is purchasing your product. And quite frankly, Julian Robinson was loud. He was so much a turn-off to those who were listening. And one of the things people, you must ask yourself this question, or I put it to you now. How is it that Dr. Peter Phillips, such a brilliant man, could never have beaten Portia Simpson Miller in an internal election? You know why?
I think the answer is quite simple, yeah. Go ahead.
Because people love Portia.
Exactly.
Yes.
And if it is you're selling a product and you don't make yourself likable, then people are going to buy it for you. And I believe the Jamaica Labour Party, Dr. Christopher Tufton, Dr. Daniel Morrison Dixon, and probably I'm Professor, but Minister Faber Williams, her style is different, but she's much appreciated, because I don't believe that people will judge her for the way she presents. I think people appreciate her, the fact that the Jamaica Labour Party is a party that has an open door policy for every single Jamaican, irrespective of your style, whether you're loud or you're quiet, etc. Even the first debate, when you think about Damian Crawford, he was just one of those smooth talker salesmen who knew nothing about his product. He even used wrong words, right? And then those are things that turn off.
Oh, so we lost him. Are you there? No, unfortunately, looks like we lost him.
Yeah.
Cleveland, good evening. Cleveland? Not here in Cleveland. Well, when we get the caller back, Sanjay, I see a lot of people, and they're proving my point. And as I said, I expect a certain level of intellectual rigor from a nationwide viewer or a nationwide listener. I'm not trying to suggest that the people in Jamaica are dunces or anything like that. I can't speak for every Jamaican. But when it comes, and this is my assessment specifically of Julian Robinson's presentation, it is going to be polarizing. I have spoken to people who say they loved it. They loved how he engaged. They loved how he was shouting, how he break down into the patois and all that. I said, okay, I can see that assessment, but I think it shows a lack of level-headedness. That's not what I would want to see my finance minister. I don't want my finance minister shouting at me like that. but I understand. There are a lot of Jamaicans who resonate with that. There's a lot of Jamaicans who won't. As to if it's 50-50, 60-40, I don't know, but it is polarizing, and it is going to be polarizing.
I said it earlier, Siobhan, and I don't know if you heard my initial reactions when Ricardo had asked. When you're judging a debate, we look at matter, manner, method. Matter is about the content, and that carry the heaviest weight. Manner is the style and the delivery, and the method is your structure. What is the strategy that you're going to use? Who is your attack dog, for example? And I've said it, for manner, in terms of the style, the delivery, and even with method, to some extent, I give to the PNP, but more so manner, their style. Method, it's a 50-50 for me between PNP and the JLP. But as it relates to matter, which is the heaviest in terms of grading, the PNP lost heavily in terms of the content. They didn't answer most of the questions that were asked, and they decided that, look, we're focusing on the style, we're focusing on just vibes. And the feel good of it, they look nice. But ask yourself this question. Did the PNP answer the questions adequately on debate night? That is the question that you have to ask yourself. And if you can really drill down on the debates and answer that question, you will see that the JLP would have won that debate.
And another thing I saw today at the press conference with the JLP, well, a lot of people asking, well, where were these answers to the points raised by the opposition yesterday? But you have 45 seconds, I believe it was yesterday, to rebut a point. I may have boiled down Favour Williams' responses today to about 40 seconds, yes, but still she was providing a good 2-3 minutes in terms of her explanations, and I had to fill in the blanks in a story. She would not have had enough time to rebut the points put forward by Julian Robinson. But it would have been necessary, because it's not enough to just say, yes, the PNP is lying about this proposal. The PNP doesn't have this thought out. I think a lot of Jamaicans want the answers. Okay, so what are they lying about? What do you believe is wrong about the proposal? How do you, based on the numbers that you have, suggest that the proposal is wrong? She did a better job today answering that question than she did the evening of the debate.
And let's face facts. Not everyone is good at debating. Yeah, because you have to be quick on your feet. It's just like, for example, Schools Challenge quiz. Not everyone can go up there and do it. You are watching on TV and you hear the questions, you can probably quickly answer. But you are there, the cameras are on, the adrenaline rushing. Sometimes you forget. Not everyone is good at debating. Debating takes style. It takes you thinking quickly to respond, being witty at certain things. Yeah. And we have to be realistic
even
about
I am
it.
not good at that sometimes.
And you're being timed also.
Exactly.
As you indicated, Siobhan.
People have their different styles. People have their different ways of going about things. You have people like Ricardo who are quick-witted. They're used to that kind of style of answering something right like that. But you have people like me who I have to take a few minutes, even if a few days sometimes, to think about something, to ruminate on it, to research it, and then to say, okay, no, this is my perspective on it. So that's how we have different people, how we handle things differently. And that's just how we work in a society. Not everybody can be the fast-tongued, quick-worded person. Sometimes you need people who sit back. That's why you have technocrats. That's why you have politicians. That's why you have people who sit in different and play various roles in government.
I think, for example, Christophe Dunn, he was good. He was good at quickly responding to certain things, which is what is needed. And also in doing that too, he was able to have the punchline, which is the manner, to respond to certain things, which is why, as I indicated, to this point, many individuals on social media are speaking about the fact that that statement he made about Peter Bunting. It drilled home the point, talking about crime, the reduction in crime, the fact that JLP, they're able as a government to reduce crime, and Peter Bunting, who was at the helm as National Security Minister, wasn't able to secure even himself. That was an excellent punchline.
Yeah, I think I'll ask you if Dr. Clark was there, you think he would do better. Dr. Clark is a rare breed. I don't know what else to
There's no question about that.
Dr. Clark is a rare breed in which many things are distilled. The next caller is, remind me? Country, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, I was following Mr. Williams.
Go again?
I was following Mr. Williams.
Okay, what's that?
Mr. Williams' style, I don't like her style.
Why is that?
If she can do the work of them better, and the union them. to give the opposition too much room.
But here's the thing, though. They're doing these negotiations behind closed doors. I don't know, beyond what has been said by the very disgruntled JTA who wants to put their point home in terms of how things are being handled. I don't know to what extent Favour Williams is handling the matter behind closed doors. I recall similar grouses being raised when Nigel Clark was handling the thing about this disrespect. And I can go back even further with wage negotiations under the People's National Party, where the unions were claiming they were being disrespected and not being given what they required and things like that. These are just how things. You have one side making all the points in the public domain, while the other side needing to be responsible and respectable and not able to break confidence, are negotiating quietly and silently, and they're not voicing their stance in terms of the public domain. I don't think it's a fair assessment to say, well, the minister is doing this and the minister is doing that. They're not negotiating in front of us. We cannot see what the minister is doing.
Yes, that is true, but what I'm saying, Monday coming in the first day of school, it should make you reach to the point that he's the one with the society for just disrespectful and bad.
But that's a creature of the wage negotiation cycle, which in itself is a problem. It's not a problem of the minister deciding that now is when they're going to do wage negotiations. That is a matter of the wage negotiation cycle, which has decided long before today. They've been a fiscal rule calling for it to be changed, because there's those who believe that the wage negotiation should be done well in advance of the budget call in April. But unfortunately, we have not adopted that yet.
Yeah, but it's the problem I have with Look now. They say I give them 7%, 30%. Now you come the first year, that doesn't look good.
It doesn't. But it's just how things line up. Remember, I believe it was in 2007 when the People's National Party lost that election and the JLP came in. The JLP had to wrap up that wage negotiation.
Mm-hmm. Yes, but at least, man, you come 0%, as you say, 2% first year then.
Remember, caller, it's still a wage negotiation. Nothing is signed as yet. And you also have to remember, when you're at the bargaining table, it's the government, for example, they can't give the best that they can do. They're going to start and then they gradually increase. It's just how negotiation works.
But this is JT, man, I'm not too like me style. Income like man, some bad style and stick up people. You know what I mean?
Because union presidents sometimes and unions generally,
he has constituencies that he needs to put up. He has constituencies that he needs to look tough in front of.
Yeah. Give me what I want, give me the one, give me that. So you don't go to this is that reason. But it's a problem I have. If you go in this country, you don't hear them none at all. I'm a little over them for the past couple of years. You don't hear nothing from them. And it's a disgrace.
All right, thank you, caller.
All right, I want to read this one before we have another caller, Siobhan. Someone says Julian's style was for their base, which at this stage they should have had in their pocket. Are they saying their base isn't secure, or is it that Julian is the one who needed to show the base he's tough? Either way, it sounds like it's a problem. To me, they should have been targeting the few remaining undecided voters. So it was a missed opportunity for them. The JLP went into the debate with a strong rep for economic management and left with their rep unchallenged.
I can't disagree with that. I think
exactly.
I think it's less because if you remember, they're focusing more on that 3.5 million threshold. I think it's less about the base at this point, as in they realize the race is narrowing. This 3.5 is an attempt to reach out and sway a few people who might be undecided, who might say, okay, well, this looks good for me. I might just go vote for it. If it's potentially possible for this to be made real, I'll vote for the People's National Party. It will matter in the margins if the race is close, as many believe. This won't matter if it's going to be a landslide either way, but in a close race, things like this could really sway the average voter.
It's ironic because I remember when the JLP came with the 1.5 promise, the PNP, who was in government then, led by Dr. Phillips as the finance minister, spoke about, fiscal responsibility, and it's irresponsible. And it's so funny, fast forward to now, that we're seeing the PNP piloting something that the JLP promoted when they were in opposition, and the PNP is now doing it. It's just amazing sometimes, how the tables turn.
No, but remember how close that 2016 race was.
Yes.
So,
yes.
And it is interesting to know that I think Dr. Holness needs to realize he set that playbook, and the People's National Party is now reading from it.
Yep.
Carl, good evening.
Evening. Come on, evening.
Evening, Carl. How you do?
We're doing good, man. Doing good. What Julian did last night, Julian just tried to say to Philip Hallwell, I am in front of you now. Come next week, Wednesday, for leadership. That's all Julian did.
Carl, I didn't want to say it, but when I read that message from that caller, it popped into my mind because I know if the PNP loses that election come next week.
Yeah. Come next week, Wednesday night, them time.
What's gonna happen? Over. You're gonna start see a leadership challenge happening in that party.
Right away. From Wednesday night next week, them time.
You're speaking it to me. You're not even saying it's a if. You're saying it's
all of our people career at this time next week, Wednesday night is over. United People's National Party, finish with it. And that's what Julian tried to do last night, is that everybody was looking at Julian saying never ready. Julian put up himself now and say, if Paul plan for put himself, the people then will prefer to go with Julian now. That's all what happened last night, nothing else. And I am very happy that Mr. Tufton was listening to me. And hammer Bunting in 9 face last night. After that, Bunting was like you cut off a foul head and he flatter. I remember saying me always talk about it.
Oh, man.
Remember saying me always talk about it.
Tufton went in on that one, like.
Yes, man. Tufton just ease back and hand Bunting a straight right hand. And after that, Bunting was finished with. How could you be a Minister of National Security and try to secure your own self?
No, man, that was a punchline. That one was a punchline, man. When I heard that one, I was like, whoa.
Tufton was listening to me careful when I discussed enough time, man. And I'm happy that Tufton shot him last night, make the whole world see that it was a disaster. Anyhow, the 3.5 where the People's National Party are planning to come up with. Jamaica people, don't make no white man Canino again. Them Conway in a slavery already. This man is a product of the slavery. Please do not bite. The thing about it, Evan, for over 2 years now, the People's National Party been going around Jamaica and everybody been asking them, where is your manifesto? Remember that when the JLP was coming with the 1.5, it was out almost a year. It was discussed left, right, and center around Jamaica and the world.
Yes, even Minister, then opposition spokesman for finance, Shaw, had to explain as to specifically how they intended to implement it. Granted, the way it was implemented was not in line with what they actually had said in the campaign trail, but they still had to put forward it, and we had well more time in advance. In fact, it was part of their manifesto because we had many weeks, if not months, I recall, to discuss that 1.5 promise.
Thank you. Now, Sunday night, you put out a manifesto sometime was about 2 weeks ago at the Pegasus Hotel. And you did not put this in a hit because people would start discuss it from them time there. But wait till Sunday night, I call it a week before election, to see if you can change some people as a white man and say, look on them idiot here. But remember say no. You can't even
have to put it that way, Carl, though?
No, but
you can't put it a little bit.
No, shit. Hold on. Remember say no. Wolin went down to Nannyville, Mountain View, and call the Jamaica people damn idiot. And please do not tell me say in call the JLP damn idiot. The JLP is Jamaican.
Carl, I will agree with you that this is one thing that I've never liked about our politics. It is the dehumanizing of people who support the other party. I've never liked it. They are still Jamaicans, they still vote, and if you win an election, you still have to govern for them. So I've never liked this whole idea of referring to the Labourite as if they don't count towards Jamaican society, or vice versa.
And Chef, if you look at this, Chef, and to see the same people them that was having a problem in the 90s with a white man. If you see a white man come now and I'll call the black people of Jamaica the immediate, can you imagine you give power now to this white man again, where did slavery a couple years ago in great-great-grand, and now him get the opportunity to lead? You think a chain with that get? I know Jamaica people are thinking properly the tone of this white man. You know, we need to stop and think about this white man now. If some things what this white man said in our country and then turn around want to lead it. And the next thing is that, well, the time was limited last night. I don't remember which one of them. I think if Julian, if it's where, if I see where Tufton give Bunting, turn him in all kind of things last night. But one of them say, the government spent $20 million on Cornwall Regional Hospital. It is a damn lie from the pit of hell. It is little bit over 9 million.
Yeah, it's the projection.
Right. And we see people come on a national TV last night and lie like that to the world. It is a shame and a disgrace. And up to today, me no hear of a doctor use candle bag. Me no hear of no soap cut in a hospital. And that was said by Daz. Tell me so lie me I tell. And no white man must come to a country and want to lead it today. We call we damn idiot.
As I understand it, and I believe the YouTube chat is right, he said damn fool, not damn idiot. Or am I wrong?
It was said all the while, damn idiot. And if me is an idiot, that means to say all who round him which will sit down out of Waterloo Road with him as a black person is a damn set of idiot them round him. If you have a white man, I tell you, say, I call Jamaica damn idiot. It is a disgrace.
All right, Carl. As I said, the YouTube says that is not what he said, and I'm going to go with them, but that is your understanding of the situation?
My understanding, down by Nannyville in left parliament, it Tuesday evening, and call the Jamaica people damn idiot.
Oh, okay, Carl. But I can't verify if that is true or not. So, but thank you, Carl. Troy, good evening.
Yo, man.
Troy, happy to hear from you. How you doing?
You do, Troy.
Yeah, man. We there on the street. Yo, hear me out. Me not too loud up, because my place I get hot, brother. Brother, the man them want to bring beer for violence to the youth them in my space.
Oh, dear.
You see, when I look at charge, them players get burned down in my boss. And, yo, I actually don't know what the thing I pay that family. But here I go on my general. I want to think we have to say in my boss. He say the support is a large I'm going to get because of the vibe where they bring the eye and some other youth in the space. Brother, I tell you, God Almighty truth, a big deal and on a kids' meal, watch and see for September the 3rd. Me now say nothing more, watch and see.
All right, Troy. Anything else? Usually your call's very insightful, You have anything else? Oh no, it looks like Troy is being circumspect this evening. But I'd love to hear a little bit more from him, but oh well. Well, we're wrapping up now, listeners, but just to give a final assessment of things, I know a lot of Jamaican people will listen to the People's National Party in terms of their 3.5 million threshold promise. And you know what? If that is what you believe they'll be able to do come their time in government, so be it. I can't argue with that. But what I know is, and this is not based on speculation, this is not me based on looking at numbers, this is based on me speaking with somebody, and I'm just going to say this straight up. I'm not going to name the person. If the person wants to be named, they can make themselves. But I wrote a story, I believe it was Wednesday, analyzing the numbers. And I came to the conclusion that it would cost about $55 to $60 billion to implement that 3.5 million threshold increase. A member of the People's National Party called later that evening and said that is putting in the minds of Jamaican people that it's going to be implemented right away. Now, I found that interesting because if you look at their campaign ads, you look at what is being said in public and how it is being framed, you're giving that impression to a lot of Jamaican people. I disagree that our story even suggested that. Our story simply is on the basis of a lack of a timeline provided, was a simple gross estimate of what the total measure would cost, regardless of what time frame it's being implemented on. But I did find it telling that a member of the party called me and suggested, not some dibby member, a member of the echelon of the party called me and told me that story could mislead Jamaicans to believe that it's going to be implemented right away in totality. And as I said, well, interesting way to put it, because that is how you make it look to the Jamaican people. And I leave that right there. And I understand that's the end of the evening, listeners, YouTubers. Thank you for joining us. Thanks to our super producer this evening, I believe was Nora Gay Banton. Thanks to our executive producer. Oh, where's Dana? Dana Davy is not here today. My apologies. Dana Davy is celebrating her birthday today. So happy birthday, Dana. Birthday to Dana. Thanks to our technical operator, Andrew the Glenn Anderson. Thanks to Cara Powell and Ricardo Brooks, our very capable editors. And thanks to all who joined us this evening. I'm Siobhan Campbell.
And my name is Sanjay Lewis, wishing for you a wonderful evening.
Educators, it's your summer your way. Let's go! Upgrade your ride with the sweet summer sale from the JTA Cooperative Credit Union.
Educators, take the driver's seat with the sweet summer sale from the JTA Credit Union. Ride in style with a new car or take that well-deserved vacation with a personal loan. Low interest rates, flexible terms, and fast approval. It's your summer your way. For more info, call 876-618-1706.
The sweet summer sale from the JTA Cooperative Credit Union.
Serving our members, impacting lives positively.
Paid announcement. The following is a paid announcement by the Jamaica